What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. We're back home. Me and my daughter made it back Sunday evening. Had a good time running up and down Cali. Got to see a lot of the homies out there in Ventura, all the FXR homies. Thank you guys for dinner and just some good old conversation and a good time at such an awesome place. Got to spend a little bit of time in NorCal. Got to see my boy John Jessup. Got to get rid of two baggers that I'm so happy that are out of my life. It was just a good trip, man. I got to show my daughter a lot of cool shit, and she got to meet a lot of people that I really care about. So that was awesome. Also finally got Brian from Paint Huffer on, which you heard on the last podcast, and wasn't planning on doing this podcast with Jack and Lisa, but it just happened. So I'm actually super happy it did, because I was very inspired by their trip they took. And the concept of this podcast was going to be a road trip and show, but I think it was just more of us talking our asses off into the middle of the night. You know what I mean? So I had a good time, man. Jack, those bikes that they got out there, I mean, these dudes, FXRs out there in this little shop in Burbank, was mind-blowing. These things were fucking pristine. I don't know what the Cali do, so what they call it, cherry, dialed in, something like that. They were really good looking bikes, man. I was glad I got to meet him and his wife. Like I just said, they were very inspiring as far as like how he helped her get into bikes. All that shit you'll hear on this podcast, so I'm not going to run it. But I do want to thank Texas Performance MC down in Cedar Park, Texas, for continuing the support through our podcast. If you're in the Austin, Texas area, or Texas in general, and you want to get a for sure good mechanic to do some good shit on your bike, service, performance upgrades, whatever, check out Mark, TexasPerformanceMC.com, as well as on Instagram. I also want to thank Paint Huffer Metal Flake. Brian over there is a good dude and laced us up with some more flakes and pearls to try out and continue to help make our shit look good, right? PaintHuffer.com, Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG. I hope some of you guys got down on that Labor Day weekend sale. Yeah, I hope you also enjoyed the podcast with them, because I sure as hell did. Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG if you want to check out some great painters across the country, as well as PaintHuffer.com if you would like to get some flakes to go on your bike. Also want to thank Horsepower Inc. up there in Indianapolis. They've been doing some good shit. I'm actually actively looking into running their exhaust system air cleaner and maybe full setup, like throttle body and all, on my boy James's Sport Glide that we're going to be diving into on the build here probably in the next month. Really excited to do work with them. Their products look amazing, very meticulously built and done. So I'm excited, man. I like to see what their products will do to basically a stock bike. So really interested in that. Horsepowering.net if you want to check out some of their products, some of their throttle bodies, air cleaners, injector setups, as well as exhaust systems coming real soon if they're not out already. Their new shop is rad as fuck. It's getting done. As I've said plenty of times, I'm super jealous about it all, but I'm super proud of those guys. Horsepowering.net, Horsepower Inc. on Instagram, and Horsepower Inc. Indy on Facebook. Check them out. Let them know you heard about them through the podcast. If you don't already know these guys or haven't already stopped in to say hi, we appreciate it. I also want to thank Hard Drive, American V-Twin products, hdtwin.com. If you are not a dealer yet, what the fuck, guys? Get on the ball. Hard Drive Parts on Instagram if you want to check out some of the products they sell. They do a lot of, man, they got everything you need, man. They really do. If they don't, they have everything that you don't know you need. That's a good one, right? They're a great book to have, and along with everything else, to help sell products to your customers. In my opinion, they have a lot of great stuff. Their book is growing. Their products are, you know, if they're not practical, they're getting done. They're getting tossed. If you heard the podcast with Zombie Mike last, we talked a lot about Hard Drive. Very excited about that company and excited for the things that we're doing with them. So check them out again at hdtwin.com. Get set up as a dealer. If your shop isn't a dealer, show them the light, homie. Show them where it's at. Thank you guys again. Hard Drive Parts on Instagram. I also want to thank all you guys for continuing to support us through our Patreon and through our whatever it is that you support us through. Thanks. Appreciate it. High five. This weekend is our campout, man. I'm super excited. hopefully I can, keep it professional and not be super drunk the entire time. But honestly, if I am, then fuck it. That's what it's about, right? It's about having a good time with your homies. It's about meeting new people. It's about doing biker shit with biker people, and I'm pretty excited about it. To be honest with you, I'm excited to spend time once again. I said this before about Gideon, but now I'm about to have everybody in my life that I think, or that I'm happy that they're in my life, friends wise, at the same place at the same time. I'm literally like walking into my version of heaven, if that makes any sense. But anyway, I'm super pumped about this. It's going down, rain or shine. The weather, it's not looking bad, but it does have a percentage up on the board. To be honest with you, it rained last time we were there, and it didn't hinder anything from happening. We still had a blast. So don't let it hinder you. It's just a little water. Shit it's been coming down since you were born. It's not gonna kill you. So come out, fuck the weather, have a good time. Just come. Not sexually, maybe, I don't know, whatever you're into, right? Trademark Jesse. Anyway, this podcast, man, it's Jack and Lisa, man. Like I said before at the beginning, I'm super pumped that these guys opened the shop up super late and sat with us till 1 something in the morning. So it was good to get to know these people. And like I said, we were kind of intending this to be a road tripping episode, but I think we just got way too off topic, too much. It's really just a good podcast in my opinion. So I hope you guys dig what they're into. I sure as fuck am. And I want to thank Jack and Lisa again for sitting down with me. So check these guys out.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
Oh no, he's up there. Charlie doesn't come here on. I'll bring that up too on the podcast. Our other homeboy's not here. He's swing dancing on Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, he changed his swing
Swing
dancing.
dancing sounds fun.
Yeah,
What?
Yeah.
Look at your face.
Yeah.
To make it on our Tuesday commitment.
His only night he could do it was
What's
Tuesday night.
Tuesdays? Like what?
Motorcycle night.
Y'all just kind of get together just to do this?
It's been us.
With us three, me, Jack, and
Should we close that, babe?
almost
No,
4
you're
years
good.
ago
Are you
started,
sure?
Yeah.
a book
It's like
study
one
for
every
the
now and
program,
Wait, say it again?
We're in the program, Narcotics Anonymous.
Okay.
So, like 4 years ago, we started meeting up and do a book study. We'd all read a book
Yeah.
and share on it, how we felt about it and shit. And then like a couple Tuesdays, we forgot the book.
Yeah.
So then we just like went on a ride and like got food, and then it kind of just turned.
3 years ago, it turned into a motorcycle
It
event.
lasted about 4 months. Of
We were supposed to be getting spiritual, and it turned into a motorcycle event.
No, that's cool, man. Like it's good to have that though. You know what I mean?
Every
Dylan
Tuesday.
lost his license for a year. We were shackled down in the shop.
So we had to stay here for a year.
We also, all of us did like a lot of drugs and alcohol, like really a lot. Like way too.
Yeah, like we smoked a lot
Much.
of crack and
Lot
shot
of
heroin for
heroin.
years, you know?
Serious? No, we're being 100% serious.
All right, so I'm gonna stop
He's
this.
like-
No, it's good.
Oh, I don't
we
care
don't
to tell
give a
people
No, it's
that.
all good, man.
I don't care.
But that's really cool, though. I mean, I've got a group of friends that I've gotten super close with, and it started out at bike night. A Tuesday night bike night, and then I look forward to Tuesday night more, and I look forward to
Is it your
Fridays.
Tuesdays down
yeah,
there? That's
we
cool.
do
That's
Tuesdays.
our Tuesdays.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Tuesday's the day of the week that's like it's.
And we don't even eat tacos either. And I never realized that, but we don't even
Yeah.
eat
Taco
tacos
Tuesday?
on Tuesdays or nothing.
A couple times we've been to Daniel's Tacos right here.
Yeah, I probably didn't go. I was fucking on the road or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like that taco place anyway, so I was glad I would. You're talking about that one over by the. Yeah, I don't like that greasy fucking shit.
No, but it became a good deal, like just to break up the week, man. You know, make things roll quicker. I mean, fuck, you got Monday that nobody, I don't
likes
give a shit
No,
about
no
days.
one likes Monday.
Right.
But then, Monday's Friday. Fuck yeah. Tuesday, I get to hang out with the homies. Dude, we'll go to bike night. Like, our bike night is, like, not like what people think about. Like, oh, man, there's bikes. No, fuck. We don't even talk. I Ubered there for a month and a half.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't give a shit for the bikes, man. We don't even look at these bikes. We're just hanging out, talking about
He
bikes
said
and
I
other
Ubered
shit.
there for a month and a half.
Would you run and grab some cigarettes, please?
So, it's all good.
Don't take my
Do you smoke cigarettes?
No.
Good job. You'll probably live longer.
Yeah,
You don't smoke cigarettes?
No.
What else you need to drink?
no, I'm good, man. Y'all got water?
Hey, I'm gonna
Water.
I'm 20. I'm gonna be all over the valley trying to fucking cash it for 100.
Bring some water then.
It's too late in Burbank. They stopped catching hunters at 8.
Burbank's like a really crazy city. They have their own police department. Like, you don't do anything in Burbank. They're just like crazy.
Is it like,
They'll do it, dude.
like, it seemed kind of, I mean, it's dark right now, so I can't really tell. But.
Yeah, right here is like not the good part of Burbank because it's by the railroad tracks. But like when you get to Burbank over here, it's like all studio. It's like where they film the movies and the TV shows, and they're like crazy. They're like their police department's crazy. I got arrested once in Burbank. Don't. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you asked us. You know, it's also cool that you asked you know for me and my wife.
No, I thought it'd be cool, man.
It'd be cool, you know, cause I mean, it's fun, you know, to.
Well, I didn't realize that y'all two. I think I followed you and both y'all separately, and I didn't know y'all were together. Oh. I just like I see people with FXRs. I usually try to follow them if they're posting a lot of shit.
Yeah.
If they're not posting a lot of shit, I'm trying to keep my follower count down. You know,
that's her bike right there.
Yeah, the blue one.
Yeah.
But so I was like, man, fuck, and then y'all did that trip together, so it'd be cool to get two perspectives.
Yeah, I love it.
You know what I mean? So.
Do I need to get a dictionary out or anything?
Dude, I'm the dumbest dude in the world.
Right.
So
her
obviously not.
I'm like, he's getting ready to go, and I might have to have her Google it for me. So
You'll be fine, baby. They want your personality, not some fucking Google personality.
No, it's all good, man. It's not that. It's
Joe might be a little smarter than me.
Babe.
Make sure he hears that.
Come on.
Nah, I don't have no. Joe's cool, man.
Yeah, Joe is he was ready to do our podcast, man.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about Joe is like I met him the first day I met him was at Born Free last year.
Yeah.
At the pull in to get in because I rode my gold FXR that I built.
And you rode it.
I rode it
Yeah.
I rode it to San Francisco and back.
He's the one that rode
We're from
that.
Texas.
Yeah, to San Francisco and then Born Free. You know.
Was it Johnny or something?
No,
some bike.
one,
it was one that didn't even start, right?
It didn't start. You was in the show. Was it you?
No, not your bike, but the one that.
No, was it you? It was like, damn, I rode my bike. Did you have it in the show?
Yeah.
Because somebody said or something that he brung up.
Probably
or,
a rumor.
It was like, it could be like he said, she said, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But somebody said, yeah, that Jace was pissed. He rode all the way there and it's probably like a $30,000 seat story, but it's like you rode all the way there and the bike didn't even run or something.
Yeah, and you know it was that, you know, I talk a lot about like shows and how it puts you in this kind of like super like not a good mindset, you know. Instead of looking at all these badass FXRs there, I was sizing them up, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the wrong way, I think, to be in that crowd. So I felt like my attitude at Born Free was a lot more toxic. And then to top it off, the bike that won was Oliver's from Cut Rate.
Yeah.
Which is now like one of the dudes I like the most.
I was just talking to him today on the phone.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, I never knew the dude and he built this bike and I was kind of more negative, like, oh, this fucking bike didn't even run, blah, blah, blah.
And I get that.
And then you know, he's passing through Texas on the way to Daytona, right? Yeah. And same thing like you. I was like, hey, man, do you want to stop through the podcast? I mean, we're a little out of your way, but do it. And, dude, the conversation I had with him changed my life. You know what I'm saying?
He's very knowledgeable in the motorcycle world, and he's actually one of my favorite people in the motorcycle world.
Exactly. So, you know,
he's actually bringing me something back. I had to PayPal him money today. He's bringing me something back, you know, that I was trying to get, and he's bringing it from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And, he'll be back home in October, but he's bringing it. He's a very good friend of mine.
Yeah, I mean, the dude's solid. I mean, we ended up hanging out. He came to the shop. He told us the story, and I was fucking blown away. You know,
his knowledge is deep. He's been all over the world in this motorcycle industry.
And then, you know, then like he was on his way to Daytona, and so were we. So we ended up catching each other at the FXR show out in Daytona. And then he came to Giddy Up, and he partied with us at our campsite at Giddy Up the whole weekend. And so I was like, once again, like, you know, I love camping and I love partying and shit like that, but I'm like, all my closest homies from Texas are there, and then all of a sudden now I got Joe and his homie Tony that came down with him, and then Oliver from Cut Rate, and I'm like looking at my fucking like team here on my campsite. I'm like, our shit's strong as fuck, dude, like compared to everybody else's stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, those dudes are solid, man.
Yeah, Oliver's very intelligent and very his motorcycles. You know, he's not like not like he's not like
he's super soft spoken
he's
too.
real. That's what I mean. He's not like real loud about it, you know. But it's like when you look at one of his bikes, he does. It's like, you know what?
Well,
I love the style.
even now. So I was wanting to build a chopper for not Born Free, but Giddy Up next year. And I was just going to do a shovel head, just a little FXE. You know, I wanted to do some of the shit myself.
Right.
Been kind of learning how to weld and stuff. And then FXR Mike started building that 83
Whatever
RT.
happened to that bike?
He's still working on
Is
it.
he? Okay.
And, you know, and I wasn't really into it at first. Obviously, he's going a way further direction with the with his shit. But then, you know, then I started looking more at Oliver's stuff, and I started looking at Al Emerson and some of the shit he's been doing with the D-Rake FXR stuff, and I'm just falling in love with that. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of like at a point where I wanted to build a chopper, and I wanted a shovel head just to, I don't know if it's to say I did it, or really I want one just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
Try it. You know what I mean? Instead of just listen to everybody tell me, oh, fucking kicking bikes sucks. But I'm sure it does, but if I'm going to talk about it, I want to have the experience to back it up, whatever. But then I was like, man, I'm kind of jealous of my buddy Mark from Texas Performance. He has an 88 FXRs when he was born. And then a lot of my other homies that were like have those FXRs in the years they were born, and I was born in 82. So I was like, fuck, man, I can get me a shovel head at FXR and build me some kind of a chopper out of it, and I can kind of have best of both worlds on it. So
yeah, fuck, I'll end up with one of them shovel heads over there if I go for my year. I'm a lot older than that.
I know, I'm older than you. Jesus.
But no, I'm going to build this bike. I think, well, I'm getting ready to do her makeover on the blue one and then touch up a couple things, but I'm going to do this blue and white. That's probably one in the world with that paint. It's a factory 93 custom paint job. They offered it in 92 and 93, and I got it, and I was going to sell it a couple times, and I just can't come to it.
That thing's mint.
I'm going to do probably big swing arm on it, and some I got a set of them old Evo Screaming Eagle bathtub heads over there in that box. I'm gonna do 18 on the back, and just.
What got you into FXRs? Like why? Like what? I mean, you said a while ago before we started that you kind of over 30 years almost, right? Is what you were saying?
Yeah. Well, I've rode FXRs before I even knew what FXRs were. Actually, I was kind of like into basically anything, I would buy anything. I would buy any motorcycle, truthfully, if there's any money in it. I don't care which bike I buy. But I think what actually got me into these bikes real hard recently, since in the last 7 years, was she wanted me to build one. And because I was originally born on the East Coast, and I had them before I even, before there was even a fab of it, but it wasn't, like club style or nothing, I would take the fairing off that bike if I had it, 20 years ago, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, no, I think that's exactly what got me into them. Is we're riding down the road one day, and she seen some hot dude, and she was like, God damn, the bike looks good. And then I think she was talking about him, and then...
No, it was the bike.
Well, no, you liked them both.
It was like the stance of the bike, the look of the bike, the aggressiveness. Because first of all, he's like an aggressive rider, right?
Yeah.
And like the bike he had prior to that was a Softail, and he rode it aggressive. Like he rode with me, like wheelies on the back, and it just fit his style.
But when we say Softail, let's describe it, okay? Because it was not like a Softail you're thinking. It wasn't like some heritage ape hanger. It was ruggeded, it was a pretty bike, and it was like, just I took all the new shit off and made it as a matter of fact, when Jesse comes back, he'll show you pictures. It's not even what you're picturing,
Yeah.
But that's the style it was, and when I bought that bike, that was all the money I had, and I bought it because it had a built motor on it, and that's what bought the bike. At that time, I think I could have ended up with any bike. I was just basically had just got my life back together from being in situations, and that was what I bought because it ran good. I bought it because it was fast, and that's what started it. And then she said,
it just looked like a bike he should be on.
Yeah.
Right. Like everything about his riding style and his personality, like it just looked like he should be on.
So were y'all here in Cali at this point in time?
Yeah, she was born and raised in California, Los Angeles.
So What was it? You know, you said this was about 7 years ago.
About 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So what was the FXR scene like here 7 years ago? Was it kind of like just it's weird, like, not to take it away from that, but 7 years ago, like I was coming into baggers. You know, that was pretty big in Texas and stuff, and it still kind of is, but we just didn't have it was so underground. Like FXRs were just kind of looked over until fucking Sons of Anarchy came on, and then for us, that's what
for
kind
California, it's not.
It's always
Sons
been
of Anarchy.
Yeah.
No, these guys up north, they've been riding FXRs since day one. You know, and there was a lot of FXRs around, but not as many as now. But shit, I've probably brung half of them over here. You know, but in the last 7 years.
Truthfully, yeah.
But no, I mean there was it was FXRs, but it was a hot spot for Dynas at that time. So she I think it's actually what she pointed out was a Dyna, you know. And I've owned many a Dynas, you know. I've owned a couple of FXRs. I've owned shovel heads. I've owned, you know, like baggers. I mean, I've owned every bike there is to own, you know. And multiple, you know, lots of bikes. Yeah. But she planted the seed, and you know, because I and I guess what she planted the seed wasn't the actual bike, because I'm into the bikes, but what she planted the seed was, you know, let's do the T-bars and do that. I don't think it had anything to do with the show, because you know it was already in California, you know, but she planted the seed for that, and that's when I said, okay. And then she probably regretted that, all the money I spent building the Team Dyna 123 bike, the black one. Yeah. That's what I built when she was like, oh, we need a different bike. And that was the start of these bikes. But I've always been into bikes, buying and selling bikes, cars, anything as far as that goes. But what put me on the road selling bikes is the fact that where I worked at kind of went under, you know, and I had a good job. It was I devoted just to going to work, you know, and you're good. And I was okay. Yeah, so I went to work every day, you know, not that I liked it, and then when the place went under, you know, I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna ride my motorcycle, because that's what I like to do. So I rode my motorcycle for a long time, and she goes, what are we gonna do now? You know, you've not got a job forever. And I go, the bills are paid, don't worry about it. And then the fact was, I was like, you know, what am I gonna do? You know, and one night I was on Craigslist, and I found a bike, and I went and bought it, and I sold it, and then I just told her, you know what, I'm not going to go get a job. I'm not going to do it like that. I'm gonna go back to what I know and what's comfortable and what I like to do, you know, so that I'm, you know, more in my comfort zone. And that's what started it. And then and that's where I started buying all the bikes and just bringing them back, you know, rather than going and getting that 9-to-5 job. I took a chance, you know. And that's how these bikes came about. And that's where all these, what, I don't know what you guys would describe them as, club style or Sons of Anarchy, whatever it is from there. But
it's all good.
That's the start of it.
What about you riding and stuff like that? Like, did it come after this, or?
So I'd never ridden a motorcycle before. I met Jack, and he loved motorcycles. He loved Harley Davidson, and you know, so eventually I was on, you know, the back riding with him, and he was like amazing to me. He like built a custom seat, like raised the foot pegs, got me a sissy bar, you know, everything, and he'd do wheelies with me on the back, and just crazy. And eventually, like, I think maybe a year later, I got tired of seeing the back of his helmet. You know, and I got tired of it. Like, everyone looked like they were having so much fun. Like, all the dudes, they were all splitting lanes super fast, you know, and having a good time. And I was like, I want to ride. Yeah. And he was like, At first. Yeah. At first he was, you know. That was his initial.
How long ago was this?
I would say about 5 years. 5 years and ago. He bought me an old dirt bike, took me out. I ate shit all over the place in the dirt. I bought her
a rough one too, one that you
heavy one.
I thought, yeah, she won't have fun on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Took me out once, didn't take me out again, and then every day when he went to work, I took the bike out and I would ride in the street and I would just eat shit and I'd learn how to ride. And like a month later, I was like, okay, I'm ready for my Harley. And he's like, what are you talking about? You've ridden once. You're not ready. And I was like, just watch me.
Yeah.
She did everything I told her not to do. So she's out riding her dirt bike around the neighborhood, and she learned how to ride it. She took me out in the alley and she's like, watch this. And she fucking ripped it all the way down the alley. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, all right, fuck it. We'll go buy a bike. So I bought the bike, and she followed me home, and I run the dog shit out of her bike, and she got mad.
I got mad because he was riding my bike, you know?
Fucking ripping wheelies.
Got
I
so
bent
mad.
the spokes on it on the way home and everything.
Yeah, it was, I got really, really mad about it, you know? But he wanted to set up the bike for me. Yeah. You know, before I rode it.
Yeah, I just brought it home, but then I'm like, all right, let me teach you how to ride it. So I take her outside. I'm like, get on your bike. I get on the back, which is a big mistake.
Which is a terrible mistake.
Yeah,
he's like 6'2", 200-something pounds.
It didn't work out. It was all bad. So we got in an argument. I'm like, fuck it, take the bike, do what you want with it, tear it up. And I let her go, and she rode the fucking thing. And, it was like awkward with me trying to tell her how to ride it, and once I just let her go, and I was like, there's nothing I can do, just let it go, and she went and she rode it, and she got good on it. So then I had it painted black with she wanted, it had like 12-inch risers and sporty bars, and it was all blacked out, and she wanted all of that
scallops on it.
No, what was the brand? Rolling Sands stuff on it. So the whole bike was a fucking total money pit, full of Rolling Sands shit.
With the built engine that I wanted it faster.
Again. Yeah.
And she rode the fuck out of it, and I thought it was actually pretty fast. It was a fun bike, and
what was the bike?
It was a 2007 Nightster, Sportster.
Okay,
Nightster.
yeah, I had one of those too in 2007.
And she didn't like it, or she liked it, but she didn't think it was fast enough after about 2 years of riding it, and so she wanted a better bike, and so I was like, fuck it, and I was only thinking that she could ride a Sportster, I guess, I don't know, which was perfect what we did, but I bought her it was a 98 Sportster Sport with like the the DX front end,
piggyback shocks,
and we had Mackie build a motor. It was 10-7-1. It was the fucking craziest, fastest bike that we had. It was like third gear fucking wheelies with no clutch. It was insane. Yeah. I blew it up twice when I'd say, I'm going to ride your bike, and I'd take it out, and it was just fucking crazy to ride. It was fast, it was like everything, you could just imagine that cost money to tear up in one day. I always tore it up on that bike, and she loved that bike. It was too fast for her because it was like everywhere she went was like just fucking like holding on like a roller coaster or something, just wide open. And then one day I just said, hey, you know what, man? I blew it up again, and I go, you know what? I'm done with it. I'm gonna buy you an FXR if you want. And she's like, cool, good trade, and that's how she ended up with a '93 FXR SP, which is a very, very good bike. It was a good trade for her, I think.
Yeah, I don't feel like the FXRs are that much bigger than the Sportsters. They are bigger for sure, but
they're actually easier to ride, James, because the frame is lower as far as like Sportster frame comes straight across, so she's actually lower on this bike, but it's more bulkier, I guess.
It's a little bit more bulkier. He has it with with lowering shocks for me, and then 13.5 shocks. So I'm 5'1", so it's like 1 foot on the ground.
I got her on it. The bike has 13
fucking bars are tall for you to be 5'1".
Yeah, it has she likes the tall bars.
I like tall bars.
It has
tall shocks.
It has 13.5-inch shocks on it,
and that's stock on that bike, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't. It sets higher than that. So what I did is so I put the 13.5-inch shocks on it, and I put a 1-inch lowering block on it. So it's 12.5. Like it sets with 12, and it looks like it's got like 12.5, but what it is, it's 13.5. with the 1-inch lowering block, so she still has to travel because the 12.5-inch shock rides like dog shit,
Yeah.
So that's why the bike sets lower, but it does have 13.5.
That's nice. So I think because my wife is starting to hang out with a bunch of chicks that do bike stuff, and I'm not against her riding, but I'm like worried, like not about her. Well, about her obviously, but like just getting hit by other cars. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit like freaks me out. You know what I mean? And I've talked to other chicks before that do a lot of riding and stuff like that, and it's just you know, I haven't got the advice. No one said a magic word. It was like, yeah, you're right, she should just go do this. But and I'm not saying she can't. She took the motorcycle class, all that kind of stuff, and she did okay, but she still felt like she should take it again, you know, because she's a little weary about it. But man, it just freaks me out. But
that's gonna be ongoing. It doesn't matter. Like today, if we go out and ride, I still give her the lecture. You know, it doesn't matter how good you are. You know, you still got to remember you can die on this bike today. And you know, she's like, okay, you know, I know everything already, so we leave out of here like that. You know.
Yeah, I've always felt like the one thing that you know, knock on wood, but I feel like this is the one thing that helps some of us not go down very much, is that quick reaction time, man. Like to shit that happens in front of you or beside you or whatever. It's almost like you have to constantly be on the offense when you're riding a bike, especially in the city, you know. And like when you're, I've also I usually ride at least like 10 miles over the speed limit, just to try to eliminate some of that from behind hitting and shit like that. Like one of the chicks' bikes that I painted, she moved out here from Austin, and she went to FXR's of Cali last weekend, right?
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
and then
know her.
Oh, Chena. So you know Chena now?
She just wrecked.
Yeah,
she got fucking ass ended on her.
Yeah, seen it.
Yeah, so it's like, and she's a good rider. She fucking rode that bike out here, so I know she does it right. So even if she rides pretty damn good, to my knowledge, she can get fucking rear-ended by, or you know, taken out by somebody. So that's what scares me, is like being on the offense. There's some things you can't, you know, there's nothing she could have done anything about.
Yeah, I mean, if she couldn't see it coming,
exactly,
she can't avoid it, you know. But that's what he taught me. Like, he taught me to be like a super aggressive rider. You know, I almost got hit. I almost got T-boned by a car who ran a red light, and my first reaction was to throttle, and cut as hard as I could, and then throttle it out. Like, if I hadn't have done that, I would have gotten hit, you know. But that all came from him.
Yeah, that first reaction is what's going to save your ass.
Everything, watching him ride when I was in the back, I'd watch him, you know, and if he was in a situation, he'd hit it, you know, to get out of it. Like, he didn't wait for anyone else. You know, but that's what I would tell your wife, you know. Yeah, like
that's kind of, you know, but she can't come from me though.
You know, you can't.
Let me talk to her.
Here's the thing, Jace. It doesn't matter if somebody's been riding motorcycles 30 years or if they've been riding 30 days. It doesn't matter. You know, the best dies on motorcycles. You know, Earnhardt was the best driver, they said, and he died in a race car. It doesn't matter how good you are, how long you've been riding. You know, anybody can die on one. You know, it's a chance you take when you ride a motorcycle. Being scared with her riding is normal. I was miserable for a long time, and I thought I was really going to be miserable. See, the biggest thing when she wanted to ride, I'm self-centered, and I didn't want to wait. You know, I didn't want to be that guy that was all, fuck, here we go, nobody wants to ride with me, I gotta wait on her fucking ass, you know, and all that. Truthfully, you know, I was like, something's not good.
It's almost like this was your sandbox. And
I was like, God
I'm playing it.
Because when she wanted to ride, I didn't know how to take it. I'm thinking, fuck.
What if she's bad?
What if she doesn't ride good?
Yeah.
And I'm fucked the rest of my life.
What if she takes the other guys out?
You know, dude, she's a fucking ripper. You know what I mean? And I give her, you know, all of her props, you know. But I also say, when she's out there ripping like that, you know, you have to remember, you know, it only takes one time and it's over. You know, we don't get that warning when it is. So today could be it, or it may be 30 years. Who knows? But I say it over and over and over until I'm blue in the face. You know, we get ready to leave. It's like a fucking lecture. I say it all the time. You know, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. You know, but you know, she's gonna do what she wants. I just say it to make myself feel better when I leave. You know, she's gonna ride how she wants because she's a good rider, and you know, and she rides hard as any of the guys do. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's from him, like, because he taught me, like, how he rode, you know? Like, he didn't teach me how a girl should ride. Like, he taught me how he rides and all the dudes ride.
Yeah.
You know, I was, like, splitting lane. My first ride, I think we rode, like, 250 miles. And, like, we were riding in a pack, and everyone stopped on the freeway because there was, like, a traffic jam, you know? And everyone stopped. I was like, why are they stopping? And they're like, because they think you can't split lanes.
Just started riding.
You know?
Here we go.
That's what he said. He's like, because they're waiting for you. And I was like, go. If you go, I'll go, and they'll all follow. And that's what he, you know, did. But it's because of him that it's because of his lectures, it's because of he's overprotective, and it's because he tells me how to ride, when I'm not doing something, or if I'm riding in a pack and he's like, don't do this, and he tells me, he like teaches me.
It's a lot of being aware, you know.
I tell her everything, like ride on the left side, when there's cars parked on the right and there's 2 lanes, don't ride in the right lane. That gives us another chance if we're over here, if somebody opens up a door, I just try to hit her with all these little small things, like, there's no reason when we're leaving an event and everybody's drunk but us, there's no sense on a 2-lane highway leaving to ride the yellow line. Get behind me. We ain't got nothing to prove, will to will, get behind me. People cross the lines, people get head on, they die, leaving from every event, I just try to give her all them little nudges, to do, because whether it works or not, it makes me feel like it does, and that's all I need at the moment, and she does know, because you see the guy crossing the center line in the fucking truck on his phone, but it's a chance, it's a chance that I take when I ride,
I would say the chance is golden. Because like that trip y'all took looked, like it would have been worth every chance, like you're saying, but it's just scary, man. It's just scary. I think the other thing is that I think my wife, which fortunately she doesn't listen to our podcast, so I can say all kinds of shit. But I think the other thing is that, she's not as connected to the motorcycle world as I am. In some parts, she feels left out. You know what I mean?
Well, that can change. Like once I felt the same way, I felt like on the outside.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was watching everyone, not like starring in the movie or whatever, if that makes any sense. But like once I started riding, I felt like connected, like you said, if she gets on her bike, she's gonna start feeling, and then she has all your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that as well, and also like which is, I think it's gonna help out a lot too, because normal relationships, I feel like there's only so much you have to talk about between like your everyday life, because you see each other every fucking day. But then when you have all this other bike shit going on, and now the people that you both follow on Instagram, oh man, you see what this fucker did, or blah blah blah, you have more content for your conversation.
Yeah, she can share that with you.
Yeah.
He always shows me that, on Instagram. He's like, look at this guy, or look at her, or look at this bike, and we have that in common, which helps the relationship. We don't have no kids,
so we talk about bikes every day. And whether she likes it or not, I don't know. But fuck, that's all we talk about. Our whole life is like around motorcycles, everything we do is eat, sleep, it's about motorcycles. It's for the love of motorcycles. That's a good one too, because sometimes, like there is like a dispute, and I tell her, hey, maybe your passion isn't as deep as mine, because sometimes I probably should talk about something else, and sometimes I don't know how to talk about something else. Is that making sense? And
no, I get that,
and that's what I say, and I go, I was like, I've been in this my whole life, and this is all I know, and I guess that's my conversation, and that's
kind of like when you get stuck at a table, like for some reason, like a high school reunion or something, of like going to her high school reunion, and now you're sitting at a table with a bunch of dudes that just, you're like, fuck,
have no idea.
Like,
it happens all the time,
but
it does.
It's just kind of one of those things, man. Like, I agree with you, because fuck, everything about my life is bikes, and everything else I try to do outside of bikes, I figure out how to turn that into something bike related, and I try to start it. It's now a part of my business. I tried to do photography for my own shit, and now I just use it for bikes and shit I do. So it's like, it always goes back to bikes. You know what I mean? It's like the one constant, in my life. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool. But she dug bikes when she met me. So.
If
she dig bikes more if she was riding them.
All you got to do is get her a bike. Put her on it. She'll know real quick if it's what she wants to do or not.
Put her on a dirt bike. You don't have to put her on.
She definitely can't handle a dirt bike. That's tall and heavy.
Don't ever say that. You don't. How tall is she?
Dude,
she dropped my brother's Sportster because she was tripping out on that thing being too
big. Get her
a 150,
XL 100 or 150, whatever they are.
Or an 85 maybe, or whatever.
Like that.
But just put her on there and just say, here,
go. She's broke
go.
her fucking legs and everything on dirt bikes. We've been through it in the last 5 years since she's rode bikes.
So I'm an idiot, pretty much, but.
I say, don't go up this hill.
Throw her on her bike.
I said, don't come up this hill. Me and her and Jesse out riding, and don't come up this hill, okay? And every fucking hill she said she didn't come up, she came up.
Like the entire way. He's all, I told you not to come up the hill. I told you not to come up the hill.
It's harder to come down than it is to go up.
But I can't, like anywhere he goes, I just I follow him naturally, you know, like when he goes through any kind of car, I will just follow him, you know? And that's the same with dirt bikes. And even if he tells me not to, I go, you know, even if he's like, stay here, babe, stay here.
I sold
normally
them fucking
I go.
dirt bikes.
So this whole trip that you guys took, like, what was the thought behind it? Like, what got it rolling in your head? I mean, did y'all do trips like that often?
Well, it's like an anniversary ride too, combination birthday anniversary ride. I had weeks off for my vacation. Yeah. I was in between jobs, and then we got another 3 weeks because of that. So what we were gonna do is gonna take the truck and trailer our bikes, and then go pick up more bikes, because that's what he does. He picks up bikes. And then when we had more time, he's like, let's ride. I was like, let's do this. And then he's like, if we're riding, we're going coast to coast. I was like, let's do this.
Yeah, see, we've been together for almost 7 years, like what he was saying, but we got married last year. And we went to Virgin Islands, and I got to Virgin Islands, and there's no fucking motorcycles.
Yeah.
There's nothing. You know, I loved it. It was beautiful. But the minute I got back, I was like, next year for our anniversary, we're going to do something involved in motorcycles. And we'll do it every other year. Whatever, you know, we go to Virgin Islands, we fucking ride motorcycles the next year.
That's cool. That's a good idea.
And so yeah, like she was saying, and so she thought she had a couple of weeks, and so I'm like, okay, we don't have enough time to ride across country. I've rode across country coast to coast 100 times, and I was like, you know, I wanted her to ride, you know, across country coast to coast, and so we didn't have that kind of time, and that's what it started. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to turn our anniversary and our vacation into a job also. I'm going to load our 2 bikes up because we don't have time to ride our bikes to where I want you to ride at. We're going to travel across country. I'm going to buy bikes all the way across, wherever, whatever, on the way back, wherever it's at. We're going to go to the Smoky Mountains. You're going to ride all through Tennessee, through Maggie Valley. Then we're going to run up to like New Hampshire, Maine, and you're going to ride around up there, and then we're going to come back across with bikes, and we're going to sell them. We're going to do all this in 2 weeks. You're going to have fun.
That's going to be a tough one. 2 weeks.
You're going to have fun.
Well, I do 10,000 miles like that in 2 weeks. I was picturing like a couple days of riding in the Smoky Mountains and Maggie Valley area for a couple days, and then up north like a day. You know?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I was going, you know what, I don't want to spend a lot of money on vacation. I want to save money. But then she comes home, and this job that she's been at for many years is going through a process where they were changing things. And so she kind of had this period, you know, that I'm going, whoa, she's got like a month. So we squeezed it a little longer, actually, like, I don't know, like 5 weeks or whatever it was. And so we have this time now, and she's like, what are we doing now? I go, well, I'm going to sell my Defender, and that was the bike I raffled. I raffled that one. No, last time I'm going to sell my Defender. We're going to take the money, and we're just going to ride across country, and that way you can ride coast to coast and get that ride that most people can never ever get. You know,
yeah, for sure.
So that was the plan, and to see as much cool shit as we could, you know, outside. And because to me, it doesn't even get enjoyable until we get to Colorado, you know, and then past Colorado, it starts getting enjoyable. So you got a long fucking
That's kind of hard. It's enjoyable for us to get to Colorado and then this way.
Yeah, well, I don't like riding through fucking Arizona, New Mexico.
It does suck.
California, going this way. I like going the coast and up north, but I've done it so many times that I would rather do anything is ride that part of the country.
I'm not looking forward to driving through needles
It's gonna be hot.
It's so boring. Honestly, for California to be so amazing in so many areas, it has some of the most iconic boring drives.
It's got cool spots, should we say? Yeah,
I'm not looking forward to that rip up 5 on, you know, up to the Bay Area.
You know what? Put an extra hour on it and take the 101. It's way worth your time. As a matter of fact,
I usually do that, but
when we did this show, or when we did this this ride, when we came, as a matter of fact, I told her in Virginia, it was like, anyway, we had like 3 or 4 days. I go, we're going to the FXRs of California. She goes, we're on the East Coast. And I'm like, we can make it.
We can make it in 4 days. Let's do it.
And her last day, actually, we made it. Her last day, she rode. Well, it was 20 miles short of 1,000 miles. She rode 980 miles. I think we had it figured out on the last day, so we got the show. But so when we left there, I got sidetracked. When we left there, I go, okay. So the stator came out. It went out on the bike when we came in. I got the stator with me. I don't want to change it. I just switched batteries and I unplugged everything. I said, it's daytime. We're going to put the time on it. I'd rather do anything than ride from up north Sacramento to Los Angeles on the 5. I go, we're going to go over and go down the 101. And that's what you should do.
For sure.
If you got an extra hour, it's
we
way
usually,
worth your life.
I wanted to take my daughter up the PCH, but it's fucking. I don't know if they still have that mudslide between Big Sur and San Luis.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I've driven. I mean, I've ridden it like almost three times that we've done trips out here to Cali on the bikes. But the last 2 years, it's been mudslides. Yeah. So.
Yeah, she has to see that if you can get through there, if she's never seen it, because that's beautiful through there. We've been up there.
I love that ride. The first year I did it, I fucked up, man. I fucked up so bad. I thought, I'm like, what? We were staying in Chatsworth at my wife's dad's house. And we're like, we got to drop down to Venice and see my wife's aunt real quick. She's a cool-ass lady. And then we'll just start PCH from there on bikes at 3:12 in the afternoon. So by the time we got to San Luis Obispo, we caught traffic. So it's like 6-7 o'clock, and this is March. Actually, this is the first time we did it.
It got cold.
It wasn't even that it got cold. It just by the time before we even got to Big Sur, it was pitch black outside.
Yeah,
there was so much traffic, probably.
Yeah, we were staying in Livermore, and that's where our hotel was. So we rode from Big Sur, pitch black. That's a dark ass place out there on the side of side of PCH.
Yeah,
but I will say that the view that we got to ride next to with that sun, going down, and the few spots we stopped and took pictures together, fucking worth every penny.
Amazing.
of that shitty, scary ride from fucking there all the way back up to Livermore. You know what I mean? It was awesome, man. I really dug it. And then the next couple of years we would go to NorCal first and then come down south. It's like it's faster. It feels faster than going here to there and then coming back. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
So what was the so you just the anniversary was kind of the catalyst for this to get the trip going. And like you said, have you ever done any like long trips like that, or
I think the longest ride I've ever done is to Laughlin. How far is Laughlin?
Oh, I don't
200
know. 220,
yeah, so not very long
250,
rides. So I was like, I don't know. He just encouraged me. He's like, you can do it. I know you can do it.
You got like a lot of chicks and shit that you ride with around here, or you just kind of ride with the boys?
It's basically the guys. There's one woman I ride with, pretty much, but mostly it's
me, or
it's all guys
or Jesse,
I ride
or
with,
Dylan, or somebody like that. She mostly rides with the guys.
Yeah.
I just said, fuck it, we're going to do it. I told her there's going to be some tough spots, be prepared, for the rain out of nowhere, the heat. But we was actually pretty fortunate as far as like the heat.
Y'all left that. When did y'all leave? When was it?
We left the 20th of July.
July. Yeah.
20 or 19th, 20th.
No, it's maybe the 21st.
21st. Okay.
Somewhere around there.
It was one of those
within
days.
Around there.
So it was pretty. Y'all had a pretty good heat wave going on around here for a while, didn't y'all, this year? Or was that?
We missed it.
We missed it. There was fires all in California. Everything was burning, and we were watching it on the news.
Yep, we missed it. We got so lucky. All the way across, like, we're going through Needles. I told her, it's going to be over 100 degrees. We go through Needles, and it starts sprinkling, and it's like 80 degrees.
Yeah, we were, like, blessed.
Yeah, I'm like, you just got lucky. And then same thing. All the way, like, it was that way all the way across.
Even on the way back, too.
Yeah, all the way back.
So the last 2 years, not this year. I didn't ride out here this year, but last year we did it on the FXR, and that's when it was like 120 degrees in like Joshua Tree and Baker and all this shit like that. And that's when they were having the heat wave in NorCal. So it was 110 up there, and this was Born Free last year, so we were going to that. So we left and we rode through that 120 degree heat. The year before, we were on our baggers, and we came down here. We were going to Arizona Bike Week, but we had stopped through LA. It was all fucking overcast and kind of almost raining, and we legit got fucking poured on from Indo all the way to fucking, was it Blythe or whatever? Poured like poured Monsanto. Like, dude, this is the fucking legit desert, dude, and we're just getting hammered with water, and it was just like such a different dynamic for those for that area that we rode through, and it sucked.
Oh, I was getting ready to ask you. You know what? I was getting ready to ask you before you said you sucked. Did you enjoy it? Because
well, I enjoy it now. Like me and my boy, my homie that I did it with.
So hot though, you know.
Yeah, like it's awesome to talk about now. All that shit that sucks, man. All that 120 degrees.
Yeah.
That fucking, you know, my FXR. We were in fucking Tehachapi or some shit with the goddamn primary off because I learned how to work on Evos when this bike got put together. My buddy Mark built the motor on my FXR, but we actually put the bike together in my garage. And I'm a twin cam guy from Baggers, so that shit is like, there are bolt holes that things line up, and you don't have to line motors up. You don't have to do none of that shit. It's like YouTube mechanic, easy as fuck, you know. And then you start doing this Evo shit, and now you got to fucking adjust the motor mounts and get this fucking, you know, motor lined up with the primary. And then one of the homies who was helping me put the bike together stuck the washer for the compensator on the outside instead of the inside.
Oh, yeah.
So that chain the entire time, we didn't realize it till we got to NorCal. I was at my boy Scotty's shop over in Manteca, and we ripped it off, and we finally realized that the chain was eating into the inner primary and causing it to heat up and loosen the chain.
You didn't hear like no grinding?
Oh, dude,
metal?
Yeah. Fuck
That's
yeah.
what I was going to ask you, you know.
Fuck yeah, I did. But, I mean, you just got to keep riding. And I mean, if it still works, you do it.
Yeah, you keep going and you fix it when you get somewhere. Yeah, I know.
I mean, we were at this Love's truck stop in Tehachapi, I think is how you say it. And we pulled the primary off because it just got so loud I was freaking out.
Yeah.
So pulled it off. We dumped all the oil into this little fucking like a chicken container. Like if you got some fried chicken and shit, like, you know, a little fold out styrofoam. And I'm just looking at it like, you know, I have all my boys around and hanging out. I'm just looking at it, trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And it's the middle of the night. We're going to Three Rivers up there to camp out in like Fresno area.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of like, fuck it, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I just adjusted the chain again, got it tight, got it on there, made it to Three Rivers, and it was doing it bad again. Like fucking just slapping all in there and shit. So rode it from there, adjusted it again, rode it from there to Manteca, and we ripped it off and figured out what it was, and then never had to take it off again. Yeah. And then fucking Joe, like I said, when we pulled into Born Free, our problem was the clutch. The transmission cover, I guess. What is that? What it's called? Where the clutch cable comes into that cover?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
The balls came out of it.
Oh yeah.
So that I had nothing, and I literally like was just power shifting all the way coming down in the Santiago Canyon thing right there. Yeah. And then I'm just sitting on the side of the road, like, you know, I'm working on it. I'm gonna figure it out, but. He came through. We got it all fixed, and then I rode. I never had to touch that again.
They were just laying in the.
So I had no clutch whatsoever.
Yeah, it was an easy fix once you guys.
Once
got
we
it
figured
off,
out what it was, like we were adjusting the clutch and everything, and that wasn't working. And then we figured we did that, and he had some little fucking Swiss Army knife tool.
That's crazy that they came out. I never seen one come out like that.
Yeah, I never had that happen either.
No.
But all the shit that we fixed on the highway, you know, I rode that bike to Sturgis. I rode it to the Hot Bike Tour last year. Rode it to Daytona. Never had to touch anything else. All the repairs we made on the side of the highway were good.
That's a gold bike?
It's that gold FXR, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice looking bike.
But yeah, so y'all made this deal. So what, you know, when you guys left, what was the first stop? Like what was the, you know, what was that like? I mean, riding that kind of distance and shit.
The plan was when we pulled out was to make it to Flagstaff, and because that's kind of like
it's a good pool,
little hump, and it's kind of cool, you know. We was trying to think of somewhere cool to go to, but we ended up staying in it's Williams, ain't it, man?
Yeah.
The little neon town, is that what it's called? Williams? Yeah, Williams. We stayed there, and it was pretty good. You know, we went and ate steak or something, I think, and then the hump from there was just to make it to Colorado.
Which way did y'all go, like from there?
When we left there, went up went up over like towards the Grand Canyon and headed out. I think it's the 160. Went like right through Four Corners.
So you skipped right over Monument Valley right there.
To get right, my main goal was to get to the 160 in Colorado so that she could see some fucking trees,
Yeah, it was like a mean ride to get there,
because like I was saying a minute ago, from here to there, I just rather fucking do anything.
See, I went into like Durango there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So that was the plan, to take 160, and we went up to the 160. I wanted to see the Rockies too, but the thing is, the 160 is just as beautiful. So we went through there, and once she seen all this cool shit, we was like, once we was in Colorado, we were like, I think we went to the fuck casino or whatever, which wasn't in the plan, but we go there and we donate our money, and then we had once we got there, I just couldn't focus until she was like fucking past Nashville. You know what I mean? My whole focus was to get her to like Nashville.
Yeah.
Going through Colorado is beautiful. Colorado is probably the beautiful state to ride in. Especially close to us. You could just ride in circles in Colorado. It's beautiful.
Every road. Just about,
dude. North and south. East. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's the Colorado is beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful states, I guess, pound for pound, corner to corner. It's amazing. But once we got through Colorado, my main focus was to get us to Nashville, because that was like where I was going to take a deep breath, and then from there it was vacation time. Going through all these other states, to me, I don't think I put too much hype on it for her. I actually just wanted to go, So, for people that rides across country, that live over there, there's desert riders. I guess I would say I'm not a desert rider. I don't care for the desert. I love the trees, the windy roads of like Tennessee and Colorado, and any of them states as far as that goes, Kentucky, North Carolina. I just love that scenery. I love that. It's the capital of riding, if you ask me, and that was my goal, man, to get over there. I just couldn't wait. So
what was it like for you doing all that stuff?
Well, Colorado, I wish we stayed in it longer, but there was also a storm there too. It was pouring rain, remember?
Yeah. It was cold.
It was cold.
For some reason.
Pouring. So we didn't stay there that long. I guess that was a reason too.
We was there like a day and a half or something.
I wish we had stayed there longer.
What route did you go through there? So you came in the Four Corners there.
Took the 160 east all the way across.
So that's kind of like the southern part?
It's the southern part. Yeah, it's actually right down to like pretty close to New Mexico. If you keep going straight through, it'll take you through. You'll come into after you leave there, you'll come into Kansas. We're right into where Dodge City is.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. It
brings you straight through there.
How's Dodge City? Is it a pretty cool place?
Dodge City's cool. As a matter of fact, I
heard about it in a country song.
I actually went south right before Dodge City, but I've been in Dodge City. I've rode through Dodge City. As a matter of fact, Dylan, that's where when we was going to the FXR jam in the Ozarks, his bike broke down there, and we couldn't get no parts, and we decided like fuck it. By the time we would have got the parts, we would have been there. Would have got there Saturday night, and everybody's leaving on Sunday. So
this year's FXR jam was just shit for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we made it. Me and Dylan, that was his first time riding. We made it to Dodge City, and so happened the dealership was being sold. His stator went out. And the dealership was being sold, so there was no stator, and the closest one was like 6 hours away. And it was like by the time I ride there and ride back, I know everybody was like watching it going, oh, I would have fucking rode, everybody knows, until it's like the situation, and everybody had a way to fix it, but nobody was there. But so I was like, you know what, we're not going to be miserable, we're just going to make it, I guess kind of I was being self-centered again. I was like, in a way, I was like, it don't matter. I'm going back through here anyway, And he kind of like gave up, It's like, fuck it, my bike's fucked up, and I was kind of like, whatever. If you want to rent a truck, that's fine. I'll ride in it with you. but I don't want to pay for it because my bike's still running.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to leave you. And, you know, so I knew we was going back. Me and my wife was going back on that ride. So I just like, you know, was like, fuck it. But Dodge City is just Dodge City. It's probably not what you vision.
Just like a good bar and some kind of like
kind of
locals.
vision like a cowboy movie or something.
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me. It's like I heard about a Johnny Cash song or something.
There's a lot of still like you know, like old motels, hotels, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff there. It's normally so fucking windy that I'm just like ready to keep going. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I don't have a whole lot of listeners in Kansas, but Kansas is literally just something in between something else. You know what I mean? And it sucks, but like even Western Nebraska to me is nice. Like I can ride through that all the time.
Yeah.
Like going back and forth from Sturgis and stuff, but there's just Kansas is just nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing on our trip. Yeah. When we came, we rode all the way through Colorado. When we got to, I think there was like 20 miles left. I think it's the 25. Is that what it is? The 25 south that goes down through there?
Yeah, it goes north and south.
North and south. I told her right there, I said, you know what? We're just going to forget Kansas. We was going to go through it. And that's when I cut you south, and we came out into Oklahoma. And
so you went through Raton.
I think we stopped at another casino in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I was just like, you know what I mean? I was thinking about her again. If we get up in Kansas, and I've been in a fucking tornado in Kansas, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's always real windy. It's if it's not windy, it's going to be real hot. And if it's not real hot, it's fucking going to be raining on us or something.
We always get rained on in Wichita.
Yeah, you're going to get rained on or be in a goddamn tornado or something, or a windstorm or something in Kansas. So I was like, you know what, when we got to 25 South, that's what I told her. We was right there at that truck stop. I said, we're just going to go south, come out in
Amarillo?
No, actually I went southeast and came out and diagonally shot my way down to Oklahoma City, and from there I'm like, because we didn't have like, we got to be here tomorrow. That was the whole thing. She's like, oh, we need to make a reservation, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking, if I want to like lay here and drink coffee till noon and say, let's ride 300 miles today, we're going to ride 300 miles. I don't have to ride 500 miles because I don't want to make a job out of it and have to be to my reservation tomorrow.
That's been the constant that most of the people that we talk to has been. It's like but the one difference between a lot of people also in their other journeys is like they only have 10 days to do this trip, you know?
Yeah.
And so then it becomes like, well, all right, so now we need to just structure it this way. And it can still be fun, but it's nowhere near the same as that, in my opinion.
So she's like, what time are we waking up? I go, whenever we wake up.
Yeah.
You know? We wake up, we ride, we don't have to be anywhere except back to California by August the 28th, I think it was. Yeah. And so there's no fucking reservations. There's no nothing. I don't like that shit. I don't even like doing that for dinner. I'm kind of like old school when it comes to that.
Yeah, we just did reservations for a cabin in Gatlinburg when we went to the Smokies.
And I didn't like it, but I told her, if you feel comfortable.
He loved it when he got there.
Well, the cabin was amazing.
He loved
cabin
it.
was amazing.
So once you did y'all stay in Oklahoma City, or was that just a passing through spot?
Just pretty much passing.
We stayed all night and spent money over there at the casino.
Yeah.
And then we went from there. Well, before we got to Tennessee, I said we're going to stop in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
Where me and Dylan was supposed to go.
Yeah.
And so we got there and we had a lot of fun. And she could probably tell you better how she felt, but we was fishing and she caught poison ivy. And it was fucking
it was the
terrible.
best time fishing. We caught these like 2 huge catfish. Like it was the best day, you know, out of all the days. I think so far it was so good.
Yeah, it just started when we got there. All that other shit was just
amazing
riding
day. And we get back to the hotel and I say, hey babe, I think I have a spider bite. He's like, hey babe, I think you have poison ivy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And next day we went to the ER because it was like swelling everywhere. We stayed there maybe a day and then we rode.
I think we stayed there 2 days. That day, well, we was there the day we fished and we stayed the next day and then we left the following day. And
So it was like one day to rest with the poison ivy and then get back on the bike.
So from the Ozarks till we got to over there, we're like wiping her with Clorox, trying to dry it. She got the steroids from the hospital.
Yeah.
We're spraying
I had
her
an
with alcohol bottle.
spray bottle in my little fanny pack.
Yeah,
everybody's just had a bad time with fucking Arkansas this year.
That poison ivy. I heard the guys even caught it over there. Yeah, they did.
I loved it there though.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
we had
so
a great
beautiful.
time.
It really is beautiful
yeah.
there. You know, I missed it too. You know, I was supposed to be there, and me and my brother rode up to Indianapolis to do podcasts with Horsepower Inc. And then the Dyna I rode on got stolen.
Oh,
fuck.
Dear.
Yeah, so I was on the way. I was literally the next day. We were going to be headed from Indianapolis to. We left.
He was heading to the FXR jam on a Dyna.
I don't give a fuck.
I was just asking. No, I don't either.
Yeah.
What the Nazis do, you know that.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
That's cool. They all want to be on the podcast. So they can suck my dick. So.
Yeah.
No, we. So my brother, me and him left, and we stopped up and talked to Boosted Brad.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, and we actually stayed at his house. He's an awesome guy.
I mentioned that. I wanted to stop, and we didn't.
Yeah, he's super cool. He's like tucked in the middle of nowhere. Like you're like, fuck. How are you so big online? And how you doing in this small little fucking like hiccup of a town?
Oh yeah.
You know, but so we stopped through there, and then we continued on, and then we had the issues we had up there. My brother, he's only been riding for about a year in April. That's awesome. And so, you know, and I made him ride to Sturgis last year, like 3 months into riding. I'm like, dude, you're a fucking 20-year-old. You need to be a fucking man. You know, he freaked out all the way to Sturgis. Like, it's windy. It rained on us from Dallas to Wichita Falls, which is 160 miles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's like that sometimes. You got to figure out how to get through this shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, the bike, we were doing a podcast with Horsepower Inc. And literally, there was a bunch of Dynas here. Every Dyna in Indianapolis was at Horsepower Inc. that day. And they were finishing up that Born Free build they were doing for because they were getting ready to leave.
I seen them.
Yeah.
I was on the road when they left Born Free.
Yeah.
They're nice dudes. They put in a truck stop or a rest area where I was, and I chatted with them guys for about 20 minutes. They're good
solid
dudes.
guys.
Yeah.
And so while we were doing this podcast, man, like I thought, you know, just imagine if I rode a Dyna up here and we shut the door, but all these guys were still hanging out there.
Yeah.
And I just thought one of those other guys were leaving. Well, no, that was my Dyna leaving.
Oh my god.
You serious?
Yeah, and it wasn't even my Dyna. It was my friend's.
And you've not heard anything?
No. I mean, fortunately,
nobody there fucking knew what was going on.
No. Well, the thing is, you know, Jimmy, the guy that runs that place, they had an idea because it's kind of like on the edge of some sketchy part of Indianapolis. I didn't know that existed.
I mean, yeah.
And then, you know, I'm like riding all in Stockton and fucking New Orleans this year, and it's like Indiana's the one that gets me. But then he was like, man, like they were all saying that this like tweaker dude was kind of walking around, and that they think it was him. And then they have his business next door had cameras. So this was Friday night. So come Sunday or Monday, they were able to get the cameras from next door because it was another business. And they knew it was that guy. They asked a few of the cats. They knew where this guy lived, but they gave all this information to the detective or whatever. And this dude calls me like 2 weeks later asking questions he should have been asking on Monday. So of course it's a fucking Dyna. It was probably stripped the day we got it, right. You know. And then even some of the HA out there reached out to me and was like, you know, there's a club up in, you know, what is it, fucking Chicago. It's not too far from Chicago. They've been paying tweakers to get bikes for them and shit like that. So they were even helping out. I mean, it was a lot of shit. It was just fucked up, but it is what it is, you know.
So what'd you do, fucking fly
solid.
on?
Yeah. Fortunately, the dude Scott, one of the owners, was like, you know, I feel so fucking bad. Everybody was like in shock, dude. Like, wow. Even Jimmy,
yeah,
you know, the owner.
Crazy.
So they're like, man, we'll catch you a flight. And I was just kind of like, so I flew home, and I was bummed because I missed the FXR jam. My brother ended up riding down there and hanging out with everybody, but he got there right when FXR Mike had already gone down. So
yeah,
and I was laying in bed like passed out, like fuck, I just want to sleep this day off. And then my wife's like, hey, Mike went down. I'm like, fuck. So I'm calling Mike like, hey dude, I'll come get you in the van. I'll get your bike, all that shit. And someone beat me to the punch, but you know, it was just a crazy weekend.
That's what I was telling Dylan. So we're there and the motel broke down and we're fucking like looking at what's going on, and it didn't look like a big event for some reason. And I was like, maybe because it's in the Ozarks. I don't know, but it, you know. But then we seen that post where FXR Mike went down, and I was like, fuck, and then they said his his wife was hurt.
Linda got hurt.
And I was like, God damn, man, it's terrible,
It's just it was a
that's
weird...
why I told him, I was like, you know what, maybe we wasn't, because maybe we just wasn't meant to go, And that's the way I look at things, and that's the way my life is, I live my life like that. Actually, I go, you know what, maybe it just wasn't meant for us to be there, And,
and
I'm
the
okay
good
with
thing
that.
is that, like, there's plenty of other events. I mean, that event has a great premise to it, but fuck, man, you got FXRs in California, you got, Born Free and that cesspool of what goes on there, and then you got, in Texas we got Giddy Up, and then Sturgis is becoming something pretty good for us FXR guys and shit like that. So
I know I want to go to Giddy Up. I watch it on social media, I guess is the way to say it. I like to go to Giddy Up.
Giddy Up's the shit, man.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty cool.
Like, Giddy Up to me is it's really the camping that makes it great. So Giddy Up was my first chopper event I ever went to, and it was the camping that made me like, fuck, this is what this world's like. So I'm like, fuck, I'm going to Born Free. It's gonna be crazy. No, nobody's camping up here doing that shit. It's so big up here that it's like it's too cliquey, you know what I mean? But Giddy Up is like, hey, we got this little campground, and we're shoving every motherfucker we can into it. And it's literally like every little group has like a party going on, and you just walk around. You can walk around or stay in your own group or whatever, and it's
go to that.
It's a fucking amazing time.
We might do Giddy Up.
And the good thing is that it's only like a 1-day show, but man, start showing up Wednesday, and we go down there. That's great riding for what we have, and it's right on the river, so you can jump in the river and do some swimming or tubing, all that shit. It's a great thing, man. It really is. So I love it. I look for it. And it's the first show of the year for us. It's right at the beginning, or usually end of March, beginning of April.
Right.
So
yeah, we may have to try to.
They're gonna start fucking paying me for plugging these dudes.
Oh yeah, because I do hear about Giddy Up a lot on your podcast. Yeah, I've heard it a lot. But no, it's there's a lot of cool events.
But you know what that has done? It's made it more appealing for the smaller events. Instead of, even though I'm a huge proponent for fucking Sturgis, I think it's one of the most amazing events. There are a lot of little ones that are equally as badass and more intimate, if that makes sense.
I mean, that's cool that you brought that up too, because Sturgis is probably not my favorite event. Mm-hmm. I've been to Sturgis. I've been to a lot of events. For some reason, and I like Born Free for some reason.
I like it too.
I don't like the heat.
Yeah.
And how dusty and everything is, and that part of it. But I don't know, just something about it. From the first time I ever went, I think I went to like Born Free 3 or something like that. I just felt connected to that one. Something about it, I felt connected. And I think when I went to Born Free, it was free. The first. Mm-hmm. It wasn't much, and then it's got so big now. It's a pretty big event. I think it'll continue to get bigger. But
I think so too. I mean, I think I'm trying to go next year for sure. But also, when I went last year, I didn't know like personally a lot of people. Like, we're all famous on Instagram, right? We know everybody on Instagram, but
exactly.
Then you get there and you see like, oh fuck, I follow this guy, but man, like he hasn't came up to me yet.
What do I say? Yeah, I know. Man. I feel the same way.
It's weird, Yeah. So it's like
and then people walk up to you and they go. Also, it's awkward. Sometimes people probably think I'm a dick, and I'm really not. Like, hey Jack, how you doing? And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And I feel awkward, like I don't even know who I'm talking to,
Well, it's so crazy how people will know everything going on in your life.
Yeah.
And you don't even know who they are. You're like, whoa, like.
We had that on the road. We saw some people that follow him, and they're like, how's the trip going so far? And they know a lot about it. I mean, I think it's cool,
Yeah, the trip was fun. These shows are fun. We did this trip, and it cost us a good amount of money for it, but it's once in a lifetime. When is she ever going to get because she, I can, Friday is Friday to me every day. So, but for her schedule, it's not going to be like that. So we had it, and I was like, I went with it, you know. As a matter of fact, speaking of Sturgis again, she wanted to go to Sturgis, and I go, okay, we can go to Sturgis, and that's what you can do, or we can do everything else, because that's the way it would have worked with the time, because we was leaving 2 weeks before Sturgis started, so we would have had to like maybe ride through Oregon, go up north or whatever and across, you know, which would have been a fun ride for her too. But that's why I chose as far as like going, you know, coast to coast, you know.
That's a good accomplishment though.
Yeah,
doing that.
And
you're good.
Douchebags are starting their motorcycles.
At least it's not my motorcycle.
And, well, I hit mine are right here, so I think we're cool on that too. But no, the cross country was a big deal. I guess I'm bringing that back up so I could say, you know, that I felt like because like I said earlier, motorcycles is like part of my life. It is my life, should I say. And for me to take my wife and to get on her FXR and for her to ride coast to coast, and when I say coast to coast, we swam in the ocean in Virginia Beach, you know. I'm not saying coast to coast and we rode over to Kentucky, you know.
Yeah.
We rode, you know, to Virginia Beach. We stayed there 2 or 3 days, and you know, to me that big of a ride is more important than going to Sturgis, you know.
It is. Yeah.
She'll go to Sturgis, you know.
Sturgis is every year, so I mean, you miss it this year.
We can do it in a week,
we
you know.
can.
We can do that in a week on a week's vacation, you know. Maybe she'll do that for her time next year.
Yeah, no,
right?
this trip is like triggered in like an obsession for me, like to the point where he's like, babe, you can just go on the road with me, and you know, it's just.
Shit, at one time I was like, quit your job.
Yeah, coming back, because I go to school and I work, you know, and so that's the thing why we had to be back at that time, because I started school.
And
but
she's
it's
going
like
to school. She's going to be a therapist.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like done something like where I just want to
like
ride and
what
go
do you
on
think
the road.
that like has done for you as far as like the free? You know, maybe speaking out of turn here, but like I feel like that's the most free from all responsibilities and everything I've ever felt in my life is just going out on the road on a bike trip for a while. You know?
I literally want to keep going and keep doing trips.
Yeah, as long as she felt that connection, shit, we got it made, you know, because I'll go.
Yeah, you know, everything that we went through, to even like the hard times, you know, where it was like super rainy or super windy or hot or I'm having poison ivy, like it was all worth it, like to ride that. I can't
even with the struggle, you know, anybody gets to ride across country, even with that struggle of the hard part of it, which we had it pretty easy, you know. The good outweighs the bad, you know, when we're talking about like rain a minute ago, you know, or me not like riding through New Mexico or 117 degrees in Phoenix, or you know, because I've done all that too. And it's like once you get that feel, you know, and I don't even know how to like say it, you know, maybe if they could see my face, like that feel when you're really in that environment, like where I wanted her to go. You know, like I felt like I'd done something once she got over there in the Tennessee area, the North Carolina, the Kentucky, West Virginia was beautiful. Them mountains up there are beautiful.
Fucking phenomenal.
I felt like, man, I fucking done something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, I would say anybody, you know, and it's hard for people to ride across country. You know, not everybody has the time to do that, you know, and their jobs, you know, hold a lot of people back. But fuck, man, it's a life. It's one of the best things in life that I've done, and to ride that with my wife, you know, because I've done it more times than I could count by myself, you know. Yeah. And to feel like I'm like being like the leader, to get there and show her this cool stuff that I've seen, that I've told her about, you know, that she's never got to see, you know, and she didn't even get to see everything, you know. There even with that many days, like 5 weeks, it still is not a lot of time, you know. Like we met guys on like the what are they, the BMW KTM, where they ride across country, and these guys are out there for like 3 or 4 months, you know.
Yeah, that's our next trip.
Yeah, I mean, they're like riding
it,
through the fucking, you know, real desert to get to highways and stuff. You know, that's another level of riding. But, you know, I was like fucking stoked when we got to do it. I was fucking happy. I couldn't believe it that, you know, that because it's once in a lifetime, you know, and for her to be a girl, and I'm gonna brag a little bit, you know, to my wife to make it all the way there, to do everything, to go through the rains, the heat, which wasn't so bad, so I can't stress on that too much. But you know, just that a lot of guys can't not even just do what she done, and I want her to understand that she done something fucking badass, you know, to make it from over there to the FXRs of California in that much time, you know. It was see over there, once we got there, I kind of like changed a little bit up. I was like, you know, now I want her to see if she can do something, like, you know, and
like Challenger motorcycling.
And they opened, you know, they welcomed us, you know, so heavy to the FXRs California this year that it would have been rude not to go, you know. The welcome that they gave us if we would come, and they treated us like we was somebody, you know. It felt good, you know. You know, Dana.
Yeah, Dana's cool as shit.
Dana's a sweet piece. She treated us so well, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah, she
we had to
treated
make
us
it
like
there.
gold,
You know,
you
we
know.
made it from West Virginia all the way across in a few days, you know, and our last day was almost 1,000 miles, you know. So I never imagined I can even ride that far, let alone that many miles in a day, you know, but
you read on social media all the time, oh, you know, we're going to ride from New York to California and we're going to do this much each day, you know, and that all, you know, and I'm not taking nothing away from anybody, you know, that all looks good on fucking internet, you know what I mean, until you really beat that path and you do 980 miles in one day, you know, that's it's a job, you know, to do that day, you know. It's also, that day was like exciting because this is the day we're going to see how many miles she can get, you know. And she went that far. Well, shit, she's in better shape than me, should I say. I made it that far. But you know, to ride that much and to see all the states we went through. I think, what was it, 22 states or 19
so many states?
I think I heard 19.
19
You're like,
states.
I think I heard
Okay.
19.
The rumor is 19.
The rumor
I
is.
think when we left, I wanted to do 22.
homework.
Yeah.
I wanted to do 22 states, but when we got home, it was 19, and it was like
I think
close
we didn't
to.
go through.
Let's back up. So after you got to you know, Arkansas, where you had the issue, then from there, was it from Arkansas to push to Nashville?
Nashville was.
And
the
so
next
what
big
was
spot.
Nashville? Were y'all just partying?
Well, we don't
That place is
drink.
badass.
We don't drink, but
Yeah.
it was badass.
Yeah.
We drank Red Bull out of a glass with ice, so it looked like we was drinking.
Yeah, so you
right?
felt
Yeah,
relevant.
so we-
Yeah, we don't. Everyone's drinking
Yeah.
there, you know. Both of us are.
And I
you
think
know?
I may have
Yeah.
broke the filter off my cigarette and pinched the ends of it. You know, we fit in. We looked good, you know. Nashville is fucking super cool. You know, I love the way the atmosphere is of Nashville. We was excited to get to Nashville, and it was everything that we had visioned, I think, wasn't it? We went to museums.
It was a little bit different because it was more city. You know, we used to been riding through country. We went to the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's right. You know,
Which
right
was
where that is,
awesome.
next door is the convention center. That's where they have one of the Easy Rider shows. So I got some great stories from there. They're all drunken stories.
Oh,
we don't even care.
We like drunk.
Trust me, we've been so drunk
We
and
used to
high.
do it all, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I
that's why
probably
we
would
don't do
trade
it,
the
'cause we
bike for
can't.
some more booze or something if I was
Yeah, so
drinking,
we're not.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just crazy. That place is fun though, man. Like there's a lot of bars and partying there, man. It really is like just a very alive city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, even talking about the riding in Tennessee, man. Like when I went to the hot bike tour last year, I had always had my eyes set on West. You know, from Texas. It's like, man, that's where it's at. You got the coast, you got mountains, like big ones, not some little bullshit ass mountains, like big mountains everywhere. And then I'm like, you know what? Let's go to this hot bike tour. Let's see this shit. And I rode through those Smokies, and it blew my fucking mind.
Oh, I think that was one of my favorite parts was the Smokies, and we rode the Dragon.
Yeah, I rode that.
In the rain.
Pouring down rain.
Pouring down rain.
Y'all, I feel like y'all posted some pictures because I rode it last year. And I took a lot of pictures, and I was like, I would see pictures of you guys post. I'm like, oh, I know where they're at. You know.
Yeah.
I think y'all went by one of the dams that was there, but it was a little bit off. It's a little bit off.
Is that where we took the picture at?
I think so.
I think there was like a big. We did see a big dam there. I don't know if it's the exact same one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's probably, it could be a different one, but I know that, like, say if you're on the North Carolina side of the tail,
okay,
off, like, one of the roads that lead up to get to
we
where
did see a big dam over there with that water. Well, she might not have. She was focused pretty hard through there in the rain, but I seen it. I was pointing.
I know, he was always pointing at things, and I'm like 100%.
Well, I enjoyed... I stayed in Chattanooga, and I rode into North Carolina across the mountains, and I was gonna hit the Tail of the Dragon, come back into Tennessee to I think it was, I forgot what the town was, but it was the first stop of the hot bike tour, and the road I took from Tennessee into North Carolina was a much more sweeping, lot faster, and then the Dragon was just like just fucking dipping back and forth and second gear maybe if you're lucky. Yeah. And I didn't enjoy that as much, you know what I mean? But I was glad I did it.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit overrated.
Yeah.
We did too.
Yeah, I wish we could have done it.
Of course, it was really raining hard when we came through it, so we didn't get to do that. But at the other side of it, I asked her, do you think it's overrated? So we got these new ideas, you know, we didn't, you know, everybody, these stickers, I rode the Dragon. I
got some of those.
I blowed somebody in the Dragon, you know, just like all kinds of stuff. So the people, you know, so we what we didn't find and we didn't understand it was a sticker that says, I rode the Dragon in the rain. There's not a sticker. So we thought that was cool, and then I think we came up with I rode the Dragon in flip-flops or something too. We was like, maybe that would fit good, because we seen people wear like flip-flops over there too, riding and stuff. So we wondered why there wasn't a sticker that said, you know, because we had boots.
Just something was a little funnier.
Funny,
I rode the Dragon in flip-flops, or
but I wish we could have rode it, you know, in good red. Like
it's like I said, it's so fast and switchbacky that, like, the smaller the bike, I think the more you can enjoy. But like a full fairing FXR is a pretty big bike in my opinion.
Bike, like, handles.
Yeah,
I mean,
good, you know.
They all, I mean, like I said, it's I don't really feel like it's a handling issue. I think it's so much back and forth, and
super what are they called? Moto, super moto.
I think that maybe the better way to put it is it's the kind of corners you like to hit.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't like low speed corners where I'm in first gear and I have to, you know, to take it fast. I'm like, you know, I like that.
You can't even take it fast.
I like those high speed.
You know what? And that's great, because that's what I like too. I think we even said that, like I even when people say, oh, I'm going to Tennessee, I'm gonna ride the Dragon, the vision is to get there, and the vision is they see this cool Dragon. But I think, speaking for me and everybody I don't know, is once they get there and they ride that, the roads that take them there,
that's said
better.
that.
Yeah,
said
like
that.
you said, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
So much faster.
That's what I said. I agree with you on that, because the roads that surround that Dragon are much more amazing,
and beautiful. They're so pretty, and you can rip through there.
And you I don't know, I feel like, to me, I like I said, I'm not the best corner guy in the world, you know what I mean? I do it at my pace and my liking, but I just like the way it feels to take corners at a good, like, I'm not trying to do them at 120, but a good corner and you're ripping at 60 to 90 miles an hour, and it says to take it at 30, that feels great, you know?
I think that's where we had more fun at.
When
we're going fast and taking the corners pretty
absolutely
hard.
But all those roads, every fucking road that anywhere around those foothills of those mountains were just gorgeous. And even if I weren't even ripping around, just seeing the land and the
just
houses,
enjoying the ride would be fun.
And
just cruising,
the cities there, like, they have this older vibe. Like, I don't know if y'all went through, like, Johnson City.
Oh yeah.
Johnson City is like a college town, I think.
I didn't take her through Johnson, but I've been through Johnson City.
Dude, that place is fucking rad, dude. And I can't
Knoxville, Johnson City, anything.
Did y'all go through, like, Bristol and all that shit going up to West Virginia?
Yeah, we're not right through. I've been past the speedway there. We didn't go right through. As a matter of fact, speaking of that, we stayed with a good friend of ours in Knoxville, and he was heading to Bristol. Actually, he's from Santa Clarita. He moved there.
That's crazy.
And, yeah, I was like, you
I know a lot of cats. My buddy Scotty from Hard Knock Customs, the one I was talking about in Manteca, he's been wanting to go to Tennessee and move out there from up there.
It's beautiful up there. I was like, if I had like $150,000, you can buy a badass pad. You know, it would buy a shack in Antelope Valley here. You couldn't even buy it for that. It's still $350,000.
You can buy a beautiful house there, like a beautiful house.
She couldn't
there.
believe the house they lived in that they paid $170,000 for, and I'm like, it's amazing over here.
You know, I was just talking to my wife's aunt. You know, because they got a house in fucking Venice, and they bought it in the '90s when it was hood as fuck.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It was rough back in the day.
And she was telling us, like, you know, like 2 houses down, like when we bought this, like the week we bought this house, a drug deal went bad. Some dude got shot in the face. But now it's all like
Property
super
values.
hipster, and now I love her house because you know how they're doing down there. They buy these lots, they rip down the houses, and they turn them into these tall ass ones. And she's just got this old vibey house. And her husband, you know, he passed away last year, but he did like bands in the 60s. She's an old hippie chick, but you wouldn't look at her and be like, oh, she's a hippie chick. She's not like the chicks down on Venice, you know, painting rocks and shit.
Yeah, I get it. I know what you're saying.
But she did that, and then she got her life together, or whatever you want to call it. And but he played bands in the 60s. He toured. He was on Atlantic Records, and then he did commercials and did set building. You know, he worked for Hollywood.
Venice is a pretty place to live.
Yeah, dude.
Today.
And you know, like it's and they bought that house, and it's real cool vibe. It's real chill. And then as Venice has turned into this completely different atmosphere than it was, you know, now it's like trendy as fuck. And you know, they got sock stores that are like look like.
Yeah.
You ever like when you do motorcycle shit for a business and you're like, fuck, man, I want to go be in a trendy area.
Yeah.
And you're walking down there and you're thinking about the money you make doing bike shit. And you're like, man, I can't afford this shit.
Yeah.
But this motherfucker is selling socks. And I mean, he might be not making it, but he's here. I can't even get here. You know what I mean? So like, I always wondered, like, how the fuck are you making it sound
I say it all the time.
Yeah, he says it all the time. We go down to NoHo and
we go
he's
somewhere.
like, how the fuck
I'm like,
dude, they're selling like a bunch of lamps.
And I'll stop and I'll be like,
they're not selling the lamps.
I need that fucking storefront for a motorcycle shop. And I fucking struggle to get that. And I'm glad they have it. I don't hate on nothing. I'm like, how the fuck do they pay the bills selling that fucking lamps?
Yeah.
Nobody wants them goddamn things.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, how do they do it? Yeah, sock store. How the fuck do you do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
It's like, you know, I got to go to Venice and get these special socks.
Yeah.
The ones that are $10 a piece and not the ones that are 10 for 12, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things, man. Same thing in Texas. Same shit. You know, you see these areas that are real popular and you're like, man, a bike shop here would kill it.
Yeah.
It would fucking kill it with just the atmosphere. And that's what a lot of bike shops lack, is atmosphere in the areas. And the ones that are in the areas, they're the fucking like, they're the cafe racer crowd. You know what I mean? Yeah. And which is cool, but us dirty bikers need. I don't know.
So that's a subject too with storefronts and selling socks or whatever. But I have a pretty cool.
I think the shop's dope, man.
Shop, you know, it's me and my homeboys and stuff. You know, but we split the rent on this. But you know, I want. Speaking of motorcycles, you know, we could sell socks there too. But I want I want one of them places like and you know and I talk about it all the time. I mean, this is like it's a 3
dream.
days a week.
It's a dream for me.
I want that spot you're talking about right now. I want to be right there. I want to be in the center of it, and because I have this dream of, you know, I think I have good looking motorcycles, and I want my motorcycles displayed there, and you know, and with the products that we have in mind of selling with it, you know, I want to be in one of them spots. I want to have, you know, motorcycles lined up where, you know, say, and I don't know if this is off subject or not, but I want to say it because I want, like, say you fly from New Zealand. You know, because I have people that's bought bikes from me now, speaking all over the world. So, and I have people that ask me, you know, hey, would it be cool to come to your place? I buy a bike from you and I ride it around the United States, and then I can ship it to wherever I'm going. You know, I want a place like that where it's fucking real
Rider
welcoming,
friendly.
you know, where it's real friendly, where people are excited to come to. They
You sell
come in,
related products and
sell the product.
Big parking lots.
Big parking lot, so we can have events.
usually
And-
if you get the cool storefront, you don't get the big parking
well,
lot.
there is
want
one.
both.
There's
we
one.
found one.
We found one.
Yeah, and I've been like stocking this place for a minute, and
Garage doors.
oh man, it's
Perfect to
amazing.
pull the bikes in.
It's all industrial. It's huge. It's high ceilings. It's parking lot is bigger than from my side of the shop to the street you came
It's
in
perfect.
down, like humongous.
Yeah.
And I was telling her, you know, because I just go all over the place with it. I'm like, it's in NoHo. Shit, I could like on events, I could just like valet cars right here and pay half the bills. You know.
Yeah.
You know, but them places, you know, that we're talking about, is the kind of place, and I know some people probably might not feel it, but I feel it. I feel there's and if somebody beats me to it, you know, they beat me to it. You know, it's not beating me to it. It's just, you know, I want to do it too, should I say. You know, I want to be in one of them places, and I'm going to be. You know, I'm saying it right now. I'm going to be. I'm going for that spot, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to have, you know, all the baddest FXRs and Dynas and whatever, you know. I don't care, you know, shovel
Shovels,
heads, whatever I
pins.
can get, you know. I'm going to be right there. That's my goal. This is like a cool spot, and a lot of people would love to have what I have, even right where we're at tonight.
Yeah, but it's growth, man. You got to have. You
Yeah,
got to
but
keep.
You got to
completely
want to go to
outgrow
the
this
next
spot.
level. You
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to go, you know, and I'm going for it, you know. I'm trying to do as much as I can in this motorcycle industry.
Well, I mean, especially right now, like fucking, it's a pretty open market. You know, I mean, like we've done a lot of talks about this, but it's pretty evident that like this FXR culture shit it's huge to us, but it's super small in perspective compared to everything else that goes on in motorcycles, especially Harley, right? But for us, it feels like the biggest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and there's this part that, you know, it's like kind of like, I guess power plants maybe one of the ones. It's like you see their spot.
Unique, yeah.
You see, you know, you see all the bikes that he's putting out.
He's got an amazing spot.
Yeah, he's got.
And he's
that,
a good friend of mine too.
Yeah. So he's. I mean, that's one of the shops that I don't know the guy personally, and haven't met him or even reached out, but I don't know him, and I don't really care. You know, like I'm not concerned with who he is, but I'm fascinated by this brand he's built.
Yeah.
This power plant, this location. I love his bikes. They're simple. Like, you know, I'm a painter by trade, so I'm coming from a world where I've always tried to make shit flashy with paint, and then I get into this, and now I fucking love a stock paint job. I love a bike like power plants with the logo on the side and a nice little clean graphic. And
he's a cool dude. He's down to earth. He's a character just like us. You know, he's a business guy.
But you know, I know that I know here, like, you can get money for FXRs, but you know, like your FXR or hers, like, is there money here? Because I know there's not in Texas for some dude to come in and say, hey, I want my bike to be this clean.
Well, we're talking about, you know, living in Los Angeles, you know,
Yeah.
and I say it all the time, you know, a guy will message me on Instagram and, you know, he'll say, hey, do you want to buy my bike? And I'll go, what do you have? And he shows me his bike. And hopefully a lot of people hear this and understand this, you know, because they say, yeah, here's what I got, and I'll take $6,800 for it. And I say, well, let me see what you have, and they show me, and that's the thing. And I say this a lot, and she knows what I'm going to say before I even say it. Okay, you want $6,800 for it? You live in Kentucky. It's a $6,800 bike in Los Angeles. Okay,
Yeah.
It's not a $6,800 bike in Kentucky. Well, you're going to sell it for $6,800. Well, I don't do it for free. You know, expenses on my truck is you know, the maintenance. People don't see the maintenance that come behind all this, and the
gas
and the work that goes into this to bring this to California. You know, so I say, and then they don't. Sometimes they don't understand it, and I go, okay, maybe you understand it like this. gas in Kentucky is $2.30 a gallon. Gas in Los Angeles is $4.09. So, and people go, oh, okay. So they start to understand, do I think I could move to Kentucky or Texas, like you were saying, and sell these bikes? And
every bike I sell comes here.
It's what I'm going to say. So you can sell and you can set up shop there.
Yeah. But
your money's going to be in California. California has a passion and love for FXRs and T Sports and DXs and Defenders and even Shovelhead, Panhead, whatever, and there's guys, but I don't know them, Softail guys and but can you do that in Texas? You can do that online in Texas, and you can bring them to California. It's a lot of work. People don't see the side of the work when it comes to it. But yeah, I can do it in Kentucky.
Yeah,
I transport bikes. I can live anywhere. You can't do what I do and have a 9-to-5 job either.
I just wonder if
this is my job.
With I mean, you see this too. You might attest to this, but like, I hear a lot. Oh man, FXRs are hot right now, and I felt it. Like when I first got an FXR, I felt like they were on the rise. Like everybody's talking FXR. That's how I found out about it.
Right.
And then I get one, and it kind of like had a couple months where they were just like not a lot of stuff going on with FXRs, and then I can't remember. I was talking to somebody about this, but I can't remember. But it like skyrocketed again.
It's like the stock
market's
market.
Up. We were just talking about
that.
Yeah,
so it's like it goes up. Like there'll be a
stock market.
Yeah.
There'll be a point in time where you can't find a fucking clean FXR for less than $7,000.
Yeah.
And then you'll go through it, and there'll be $3,000 gyms everywhere.
It's like there's and it's weird because you got an FXR guy. I like them all.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. Okay, so FXRs can be expensive today, and T Sports are down a little bit. Then it can switch up. It's not because the guys switch up. It's just this guy's ready for a new bike. That's like the Dynas guys. It goes up and down. The market and I guess we're using the word FXR a lot, but the word is actually motorcycles. Depending on the motorcycle, it goes up and down, like you're saying, you felt like you was like, oh man, I'm in this, it's very expensive and this and that. Today it moves around, but I'll say this and I will stick to this, anybody that buys an FXR and they don't, without insulting anybody, beat it up too bad, as in all these aftermarket parts and and I like aftermarket parts too, within reason. But anybody that holds the true what it really is, keeps the real lines of it, is setting on money, okay? Because this is my belief, and some people may agree, some may not. Like these bikes are hopefully like my retirement, bikes that I get. And I hope people that buy bikes from me feel the same way. You buy a bike from me for $7,500. If you wait it out with me, that bike is going to be the price like knuckleheads are today. If you're 20 years old and you buy this bike when you're 45, you're going to have a lot of money.
Well, what I get a question a lot is from people that are interested in the culture, but maybe they're in the newer bikes, they're into the fuel injected bikes basically, and they're like, man, like there's something, what's going on with these 90s and 80s bikes, but then the maintenance on them or the carburetor, it's not for everybody. But like I feel like you can get a nice ass FXR for $3,000 to $6,000. Obviously the $3,000 one needs work, right? $6,000 one might need some work, but it's usually something minor, and you can fucking ride these things across country, you know what I mean? But
you can.
Then it's so crazy because I come from the big wheel bagger market before I really got into Dynas and shit, and $20,000 on parts was a small build.
Yeah,
that's what I was used to. So when I came into FXRs, I was telling FXR Mike, this is like, dude, you built that bike for $4,000, and I'm looking at it like, dude, like, and he's like, patience, man, patience, and this and that, and I'm like,
well, he has a lot of knowledge too, in the game,
and he waits it. Like me, I bought a $6,000. My first ever, the gold one, was a $6,000 honey dick is what I bought. It had all the shit on it that I was like, fuck, dude, it already has T-bars.
Yeah.
And it's like some cheap ass built wheel on the Sportster risers. Oh shit, it's already got a thunder header on it, cracked up, but it had a thunder header.
Yeah.
Oh shit, it's already got Nest side covers, but what it didn't have was the seat latch, the fucking the gas gauge didn't work.
Right.
No speedometer.
All the stuff that costs money.
All the shit that costs money, and I'm like, fuck, man, like I should have just bought the $3,000 one that had none of that fancy shit on it, and just rode that one, and put these new, because the exhaust was no good. I think FXR Mike bought it from me for like $200. The literally when I built that Gold bike, the only thing that was original on that bike was the tank, the side covers, because it had Nest side covers, the rear fender, and that's it. Completely new inner primary, completely new transmission case, and then my buddy Mark put a beefed up 5-speed in it, put an Ultima motor in there, wheels, front suspension, swing arm, every other part of that bike was bought brand new. So I ended up having like $22,000 in parts, and then I spent $6,000 buying the bike.
A lot of money.
Yeah, and
yeah. But do you love it?
Fuck, I mean, I don't have it anymore. I got parts of it.
Okay.
But,
yeah, I remember. I think I read something.
I sold all the tins
on that.
Yeah, I sold all the tins to.
That.
I sold all the tins to a guy in Hawaii, and then I just sold the frame to the guy that won that bike that Michael Beelan built.
Okay.
So that one that it was kind of weird, single-sided swing arm, I think, or some shit.
Yeah. That bike just came apart too, or something.
Well, yeah. So what happened was
he raffled it.
I think. So FXR Mike linked me up with this dude because he's down in South Texas. Mm-hmm. And I guess he just kind of wants to make a regular FXR and not that, what Michael had built. So they worked out some deal on their end. So my frame is going to that guy now.
Okay.
And I still have my motor and everything. I still got my rims, and I'm picking up an RT when I get back from this. So I'm picking up an 85 RT, and I've already learned the first lesson on building FXRs, so I know which way I want to do this and where I want to spend money.
And you're gonna save money this time.
Yeah, and so and I don't really. My goal is to get this one. So it's actually exactly like same paint scheme and all. Mm-hmm. I think I could be wrong. I'm not that good with the years and paint schemes. But tour pack, everything. I just need to get lowers for it because I like the lowers.
I got them right there. I just had them off for the trip.
Yeah. So that exact setup. I still have my swing arm. I still have my Lindahl wheels. I still have that complete drivetrain, the beefed up tranny. So I ended up throwing that in there. It's a all 90, newer 90 shit. And that's gonna be my bike. I'm not gonna be interested in selling it. You know what I mean? Which is probably a bad idea in some aspects. And then I'm gonna do the shovel. And honestly, after I do that shovel, I think it's just going to be waiting, and I'm going to get in a little BMW adventure bike after that.
That's weird you say that.
We were just talking.
Yeah.
We were just talking.
Everybody
about
is, dude.
Yeah.
We just did that podcast. We did the longest podcast I've done so far was 4.5 hours, and it was with John from Purpose Built. John Evil,
I think is how you say. Yeah, he lives like up in north New York.
Dude, we literally
New
spent
Hampshire or somewhere, isn't it? Up north, up there somewhere.
We spent half the podcast just talking about the new, because a lot of it was about the new FXDR that just dropped, and then the second half we literally were talking about how it's transfer, like Harley is pushing us into adventure bikes, but not theirs. You know what I mean?
I see John posting a lot about that, and he's going to end up with something like that, I think, because I don't know the guy personally, but I've watched him long enough on social media. I think he will end up with one. He has a passion for motorcycles, I think.
Yeah.
I think he has a passion. What I know from reading about John, I don't know him personally, is to me, he seems like a person that he has a passion. He loves Harleys, but I think he just has a passion for motorcycles.
He does.
Is what it sounds like in what I read from what he posts,
Well, the other thing is, I mean, you can maybe attest to this. Like I said, I'm kind of just meeting you here, but as you grow in motorcycles, like, you kind of need that new spark of excitement. Yeah. Sometimes it's people, like a crowd you find yourself around. Sometimes it's just a whole new bike. Mm-hmm. But I would argue that maybe it's the same. Maybe it's the bike and the people that come with the bike, because FXR has guys like you and Joe and FXR Mike and Chris Harry. You guys are what FXRs are for the most part. So when people jump into the FXR scene, this is the crowd they're around now, and it's a big ass, like I said, it feels big. because you get on these FXR forums or you see the events going on, and then you get this kind of like this bro love from everybody because you're on the bike. Like, you get the nod, like, oh, cool, man, like FXR guy, hell yeah.
Yeah. You know, see, the thing is how we mentioned them, what are they called again? Cross-country bikes? Touring bikes?
Adventure bikes.
Adventure bikes. When I say I would like to have one of those adventure bikes, I'm not speaking on any brand because I don't think I know anything. I don't know enough yet to say which one. What I do is find it appealing. It looks fun. With that being said, I'm not a sellout to Harley-O.
Yeah.
I'll still have Harleys, you know.
Yeah, and that's what we said on the podcast with John. It's like, hey, there will always be a Harley in the garage, but, you know, with...
I didn't listen to yours and John's. I didn't know.
A lot of people didn't have enough of their life to let go of our talk, but no, it's fun.
You know, okay, if that's what you guys said, and I think that's what a lot of people will say, that absolutely have a passion for Harleys as well. You know, we're not talking about FXRs, we're talking about Harley guys. You know, I think that, you know, if somebody else, you know, reaches out to get something else, you know, I don't think they forgot where they came from. It's just this is 2018, and there is fun stuff to do.
It's a new experience, you know. Exactly. We were looking at them too.
You know, like I think the thing about the adventure bikes that's appealing to me, and my listeners are probably gonna get tired of me talking about this, but is the, you know, you've ridden across the country hundreds of times, so you got that. There is like your experience this time. I'm just speaking for you here, but the excitement was doing it with her and showing her all that cool shit, and that's the same thing for me. So I've ridden to California a lot of times. I could go by myself and enjoy it because I haven't done that yet, but every time somebody new says, man, I want to go to California, I'm like, hey, I want to show you all the cool shit I know.
Exactly.
So it becomes this like this excitement of showing someone what you've seen before, you know. But adventure bikes, to me, it's not the riding around the country that's inspiring to me. It's like, fuck, like this bike makes me feel like, you know what, I want to be that biker that's ridden across continents.
Exactly.
Like, I want to go fucking ride South America. I might die.
Yeah.
From like
or go to
whatever. Yeah, I want to ride shit that's like the next level. Like,
and they're appealing.
I
know people's like, what the fuck did he just say? To me,
they are appealing.
They're appealing. They're cool looking. They're fun. San Diego Customs
built that one,
dude. I'm so in love with that bike.
It. Yeah.
And that takes me back to my roots because they built what I like want to do, but also it's like super cool because it's a Harley. I mean, I know a lot of guys go, oh, that bike might be too heavy or whatever. That bike to me is amazing.
Yeah.
I would try it, you know. I would fucking love to own that bike. That's staying to your roots if you get that one, you know.
And so leading off of that, so my whole deal, like my FXR chopper that I'm wanting to do, and then spending the rest of next year not doing any bike builds and waiting for that new 2020, you know, adventure bike Harley's going to put out, which I'm at this point, you know, which is way too early to say. I'm probably not going to buy that one. I'm probably going to go to the BMW, but I'm interested to see I'm interested to see how that bike comes out. I'm interested to see what Harley does to change their structure of their business, because when you walk into a Harley dealership, you know, it's way different than you walk into a BMW dealership.
Yeah.
If you pull up on an adventure bike BMW and you walk in that dealership, they're not trying to sell you a new fucking bike. You know, they're here like, hey man, how's the bike? Is it good? You need tires? You need, you know, like they're concerned with you on your journey. And I feel like Harley would have to retrain all their car salesmen to learn how to sell or be helpful to people on bikes coming in.
What you just said is I never thought of that, but that is absolutely truth.
One of the biggest, and this isn't my knowledge, this is knowledge I've accumulated from a lot of conversations, but the biggest difference between Harley being a player in the venture game is not necessarily the bike they build, but the brand, their ability to stay connected with the people on the bikes and not just feel like, okay, well, we got your fucking 20 grand. You're not interesting to us anymore. Hey, new rider, that's a Sportster. Let's get you on a new loan on a new bike. You know, like it seems like they're pushing that more than they're pushing the idea or the experience that's supposed to come with it.
That is the sales pitch there. You're right.
You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, this trip though that we were talking about.
Oh yeah.
So after Tennessee, like you did all that. I mean, Did you go straight from there over to Virginia Beach?
We actually we stayed in Tennessee. Let me touch a little bit. We stayed in an amazing cabin in Tennessee, in the Smokies that she reserved. Like I said, she had to reserve.
How long did you stay there?
5 days.
5 days.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just like the most.
It's like a vacation inside. It's like
It was like a
it's
vacation.
vacationception.
Yeah.
Inside of it. It was amazing. I told her and I was like, you know what, so it doesn't look like I'm like being controlling. I think I said, go ahead and reserve something so we get that over with.
Yeah.
And it was a good thing I did because we got there. It was fucking cool. It had a fucking pool in the basement. It had
like a heart-shaped hot tub in the bedroom. It was 3 stories. It had a jacuzzi on the balcony, pool table. We played pool all night.
And it was like, reasonable too. It was like 5 days, and it was like $780 or something. At least that's what she told me. So.
No.
How much was it?
It's like 800 and something, but
well,
it was
okay,
like
still less than 1,000.
Yeah, it wasn't
less than $100 a day.
It wasn't that bad.
And I know a lot of people seem like that's a lot, but to us that seemed like a good deal because if we rented a cabin in Big Bear, they probably charge us $1,200 for 3 days.
Yeah, it'd be like $400 a night, $500 a night.
So it seemed like a good deal to us. We enjoyed it, and then to answer the question, we went from there right into the town of Maggie Valley because I love it over there. Yeah. We stayed at a cool place. We had a trout pond, a trout stream is what they call it. Right? I'm not like a fucking pro fisherman, so if you've seen the videos, I am not that good. But we fished like right out our front door. It was fucking cool. We rode around.
I think that's a good compromise, though. Like, you're doing shit that's not motorcycle related, but it's within the motorcycle. So it's like we just said, like the vacation inception. Yeah. So it's like you're out and you're both getting pleased with things to do.
Yeah, we're going to it was even fun. Like, we're going to Walmart. We're buying these fucking fishing licenses and these bait,
some worms. It was just fun.
Buying worms. It was fun too because the second time we bought worms, we went up there to the trout and they're like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And we're like, what do you mean? And they're like, who buys green fishing worms?
They were like genetically modified
I think they
worms.
were. And you put them on the hook and they're like lime green. Yeah. I'm like, fuck, dude, they're fishing worms. I don't know.
They thought we were idiots. They had to show us how to do it.
Yeah, so we had fun fishing with green fishing worms. And they finally was like, here, and they gave us fishing worms. And we spent like 3 days there because that was like super nice down there. Yeah. And then from there, that's when we went directly to Virginia Beach.
We went to Dollywood, remember? And there was lightning.
Oh,
they closed down the park.
Yeah, I got to talk about Dollywood.
They closed. Okay, so we
went to fun.
It's in Smoky Mountains. It's an amusement park that Dolly Parton owns. I'm assuming it's called Dollywood. Yeah. Or they use their name, whatever
Pigeon
it is.
Forge.
Pigeon Forge.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
it's a huge amusement
cool.
park, and there was a lightning storm that was coming, so they shut down all the rides at the park. And
I'm like, what the fuck?
No, we were about to get on a roller coaster, and they shut everything down.
We waited like an hour and a half.
The park.
Wow.
We stay, and they're like, oh, we'll give you a rain check, and we're like, we're starving, so we go back in. And then they open up the park, like miraculously, everything opens.
So it's like us and 50 other idiots that waited the rain out.
Yeah, and then we just like walked right on every roller coaster.
Nice. Fucking rode everything, that's awesome. We had fun there. I liked the park. The fucking rides was cool. Yeah. We rode like 7 big ass roller coasters.
Yeah, but we were pissed when the lightning happened because we thought, we
were
not gonna.
It worked out to our favor because everybody started. I mean, it was raining fucking hard.
Lightning. We're like, great.
So we waited it out because we was hungry, and I was like, well, fuck. Oh, we're on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
We're on a motorcycle trip, so it's raining, fucking like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm like, everybody's leaving. They're getting in their fucking cars and they're leaving.
You're going to wait it out.
Yeah,
we're
in
a fucking motorcycle, so let's go in and sit down and eat a fucking corn dog or whatever.
Country buffet.
Or whatever it was. And we ate, and then when we came from eating, we walked outside and the fucking sun's shining.
Nice.
And I'm like,
And they opened up the park.
They opened
it was
up the
like
park.
a miracle.
and I mean, like if there was like 10 people there, 7 of them left. You know what I mean? But we're talking thousands of people. So we're like walking up on the roller coaster, and we're like, "Fuck, this was exactly what we needed." You know,
Yeah.
now we're happy, right? And we walked from that to the next, to the next, to the next, and we stayed there all day, and we rode fucking roller coasters, and I liked that part. It was pretty fun. I like roller coasters, fast shit, you know.
Yeah.
So we had fun, and it was motorcycle related because we sat in the rain and waited for everybody.
Yeah, we were at a place where there was like no shelter, so we were just getting rained on
Like-
to get to the next shelter, and it was just
It was like, we can go in
Yeah.
here and eat, or we can get on the motorcycle and ride to our.
Did y'all end up riding that Blue Ridge Parkway at all?
Yeah.
So we went to ride Blue Ridge Park, and then
Like
it
the
was
whole thing?
complete. No, it was
No.
completely. They
My
were doing
bad.
That's
road
not bad.
work on it.
They were doing road work.
So we went to take the right hand turn, and they had completely tore up the road, and it was all gravel.
Yeah.
And they're like, "There's miles and miles and miles of this
Yeah,
if you
gravel.
want to continue."
I've rode through there, and I've been through there.
It was
I've
all
drove
loose
through there,
gravel,
and I
total loose
wanted her to
gravel.
go, but they had 20 miles.
It was
of
something
gravel.
crazy.
Yeah.
The worker was like,
I've only ridden one part, and it's the northern North Carolina part. It's kind of where it's like way up there, and you got the really badass
I
badass
wanted
scenery.
to ride
Yeah.
it.
But I did enjoy it. But the speed limit's way too low.
60, I think, or 55.
It's
isn't
super.
It? Yeah,
it's like 55 or
it's
something.
low.
And then there's lots of fucking like minivans and shit on there.
Yeah.
That's what someone was saying, though.
And so it's like
That it
every
sucks
time
if
you get a little
behind.
space, you're like, and it's curvy, so it's
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
go around
No,
people.
we
Yeah, the
wanted
speed's
to
not
ride.
very
We tried to
fast.
go ride it, and it was just
Yeah.
I rode a part of it. I saw the really, like I said, there's a part where it's like super on a cliff and you got bridges and
Yeah.
shit, and you can see it like, looking east, really nice. And then I rode a little bit of ways, and I was looking at that Google Maps. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna burn off this way. Still had a blast too.
Yeah.
Because that road I went off on was fucking just dip, and
Yeah, anywhere
fucking
you
everywhere,
ride, like
Yeah.
we said
know?
earlier, anywhere you ride out through there is amazing.
And then from there we went to Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
So was Virginia Beach like the furthest destination, or what?
It was the
Yeah.
farthest. When we was in Maggie Valley, like I said, we didn't have a destination.
Yeah.
I go, okay, so we can either go to Virginia Beach or Myrtle Beach, because it's like,
Yeah, Myrtle
right?
Beach is shitty. I don't like it.
Well, Virginia Beach used to be like when I was like 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, it was shitty. And so I told her,
They're both shitty.
this place is probably
Yeah,
shitty.
you got shitty or you
but-
got like kind of shitty.
It's the farthest.
Virginia Beach, though, don't you go over to Chesapeake Bay to get to that or some shit, or
We kind of just went. I can't recall exactly which road. Let's see. We left Maggie Valley, and we went diagonally northeast. And what was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
We was on like 2-lane road for a long time. I tried to stay on as many 2-lane roads
Yeah.
as I could. I can't remember which one it is because I got like a million of them in my head. But it was like 8 hours, over there.
yeah,
And I think we stayed actually about an hour from there so that we could get there the next day, because the time we got there it was real late, and I think we stayed like close, and then we went there the next day.
Yeah, and then we got like a
So-
really nice hotel on the water.
It was actually her
like-
birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was her.
yeah. So Chesapeake Bay, I just looked it up. So that's Chesapeake Bay and the bridge that goes across.
No, we didn't
go
do
far.
that.
Here's
You
where we
didn't?
went. No. So we didn't go over there. No, we did not.
No, we just
Okay,
got to Virginia
so,
Beach. I wish
yeah.
we went. Next trip.
Yeah, I heard someone bringing it up on one of the things that I'm involved in, and they were talking about doing the Chesapeake Bay and that bridge or something. I don't
You know what?
No,
I don't even know if
we
it's that
wish-
cool
we
or
were
anything.
so
I haven't.
close
No,
to
I didn't
there.
do it. That's the tunnel.
Yeah, the tunnel.
Yeah, we went through one over here, but it wasn't the Chesapeake
No.
Bay. We went through a huge tunnel, but out of there heading
Yeah, I wish we had
west.
gone through there.
But no, we didn't go over there. You know what? I don't even know nothing about the Chesapeake Bay now that you're saying it. But yeah, we took 64 right out of there. So
I'm trying to make more friends up northeast because I don't like buying hotels.
we went through.
It's better
here.
to stay at someone's
We
house.
went through that one,
Oh,
whatever
okay.
that is.
Yeah.
That's the one on 64. That long tunnel. We went under that.
Okay, so y'all still went across the bay, but just didn't do that. But yeah, I've been wanting to. Me and Chris Harry are pretty good friends, and now John is up there, but they're all like way deep northeast. Like I need to make some friends like on the way.
Yeah.
I don't mind getting hotel rooms and shit like that, but I'm not super rich or anything, or I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't have 10 grand to spend on a trip, so.
Well, I sold one of my bikes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't have
the way
10
you
grand
did
either.
And and like I enjoy, obviously I have a podcast. I enjoy like talking to people. So like to me it's cool to go hang out with somebody in a town like their town and like, hey man, can I crash here? Cool.
Yeah,
like,
I met up and hung out with Chris too.
Your bikes are safe too.
Speaking of Chris, while we brung his name up, I found a bike up there and it's good. That's the friendships that I've made, by being on social media. I've been on it like 5 years, I think, to be honest, like for 4.5, 5 years. So I speaking, you brung his name up. I was like, you know what? There's a bike up there, and the guy wouldn't wait on me. He wouldn't take a deposit, and I get it, So I was like, fuck it. I called Chris, and he's like, yeah, man, send me the money, no problem, dude. I'll go and pick it up for you as soon as I get off work. And never met the guy before ever, so I sent him the money, all the money for the bike. He goes and he buys the bike. He brings the bike, and he's like, it's in my driveway whenever you want it. And he was a good dude, man.
So when I first got into FXRs, it was FXR Mike was a big push for me to get in because he's right there in my backyard and whatnot. But then I ended up buying getting bags from Chris Harry that was on my FXR, painted his tank and a couple parts for his police bike he built last year for Maggie Valley.
Right.
And then we hung out in Sturgis, me, him, Joe, and Chris. We hung out in Sturgis last year, hung out in Daytona this year a little bit. And he's been a solid dude, man. He's been helpful. He helped me find a fairing for the bike too, and I was looking for one. And that's the thing about everybody, man. Everybody's just been cool and helpful. You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes we see deals that like, fuck, man. Like Mike, same thing. Like Mike's always sending me text messages, hey man, there's the FXR for sale, blah blah blah. And it's always like when I don't have money, but it's one of those things. He's always trying to help people find bikes, especially if they want to get on one.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just a good community and shit. But
I think it's like that in the motorcycle community, and we have different communities, and because I know a lot of different people, not just FXO, and that says a lot, because a lot of people used to think, bikers and stuff, they're mean people or whatever, and they're not, man. They're some of the nicest people you ever meet.
Well, think about this is the one dynamic that hasn't been brought up a lot. Is that I grew up in a biker life. My stepdad was a club guy in Texas and stuff like that, and I grew up, I remember in the 80s, like me and the kids of random houses they would be partying at, we'd be in the back rooms looking at Easy Riders and shit, trying to see titties and shit. You know what I mean? Like that was my 80s.
I was born into it too. My dad, brung me right into it. That's the same thing, Easy Rider. That was the big magazine back then. Yeah.
And so it's like, now they didn't have like the ability to connect like we do now. So,
this social media has, and she knows, like through my Instagram, being on the road, and now I'm probably speaking in the FXR and Dyna community, because that's what my page is about, and that's what I sell. Is man, you wouldn't believe how many people like opened their guest house.
Yeah, they're like, come stay with us. Or when we something happened to his bike, flooded with, hey, you can get a part here. Yeah. I'll ship you a part. Come to my shop. It's like people are so generous.
And that's the thing too. When we left, I told her, like thinking ahead when we left, she's like, what if I go, you know what? I think that people will reach out to us, all the way across, and they did, all the way across, all the way back, all the way home to, like I said, FXRs of California, brung us in there with some of the, like most generous way that anybody could have ever been invited, people would send me a message and they're like, hey, if you're coming through Kentucky, I got a guest house, you guys can, have the run of this, are you coming through here? I got a guest house. Hey, we got a camper you guys can stay in. People said, hey, my garage is open to you if you guys need to do any maintenance here, and here, so the motorcycle world, in the community, and like I said, it was the FXR community and the Dyna community. These people are, just like welcomed us in their house. I didn't really take too many people, up on it because I'm kind of, if I had to, I would. Yeah. But I didn't have to. So, I wasn't looking for a free ride. I looked for a $34 motel because, that was fun too.
Yeah, there's not an obligation. It's a weird feeling, like when someone reaches out and gives you that. Trust me, I was kind of looking for that in Phoenix because I wanted to stay in Phoenix last night and then just drive in. But I was like, man, it's. A lot of people knew I was in Phoenix, and nobody hit me up to like, hey man, you want to party? You want to do? But it was also Monday. Yeah. So
I gotta go. To work tomorrow.
And I was like, man, I don't want to superimpose on people. They got to go to work. I'm trying to I got my daughter here, and I'm like, her mom. We're not together. Her mom's probably like, you just took my kid across country, and you're staying in random people's houses. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's some areas it was kind of weird, but. No, that's what's cool about it. And like I said, with this opening of these networks and shit, it's like. You have that option. You know what I mean? If you were alone, if I was alone, I'd be more susceptible to that. Sometimes I want to just crash alone in a hotel. Yeah. Sometimes man, I just want a fucking beer tonight. Well,
well, we don't care. You could drink beer. Yeah, we don't, just because we don't drink, don't make your life miserable.
Just the social aspect of it, And sometimes for me, same thing. When I get around a lot of people, I get bombarded with questions, even more so now with this podcast than before. But when it's just one person, I can engage in that conversation. But if I'm at a bike show, man, and everybody walks, hey, man, I love your podcast. Hey, man, I love your paintwork. Hey, I do this. It's like, it's like, cool, high five. And then you're like,
it's hard to connect.
It's hard to give them.
There's so many. You can't even give them attention because there's
And that's the same concept I have whenever there's somebody that I want to meet. I'm like, man, how do I get this person's attention? I'm like, you know what? I'm stupid for thinking that we're at a place where there's no way it'd be selfish of me to go up and be like, hey, dude, talk to me.
Yeah.
For a long time. Because I'm the way I am, and I know you're probably the same way.
Yeah.
There's a guy there that I need to talk to. I've been wanting to talk to, and now I'm sitting here and I'm at a booth. I'm trying to sell shit or I'm trying to promote shit, and now I'm sitting here getting super deep about shit that we could have been talking about, maybe at the campsite or at another part or whatever the case may be. But like I said, it gets kind of hard to navigate the water sometimes.
It does. You're correct about that. That's why I was like, I even told her, I was like, hey, and I chatted with these people, and if they listen to this, they'll be like, I was like, hey, we really appreciate this. We stayed in one place, and that was actually my friend in Knoxville. And it ain't like I used to spend a night with him when he lived here either, so it was kind of awkward. And that's even what he said, hey man, it was so peaceful, you guys here. And we stayed there because I knew him, I worked with him before. And I'm so glad we did go there because that was a great experience. That was a big part of our trip. It made Chuck feel like he
was part of it too.
Yeah, it made him feel good to be able to
house. They cook for us.
Well, just having friends over from a past life.
Yeah, he knew us from here, so and he don't know very many people there, so it was cool. And that is really the only person that we took up on.
Besides your dad.
Besides my dad.
I got to meet his father. I'd never met his father.
For the first time. That's a big
in West Virginia.
West Virginia.
He lives up. My dad.
Is he a moonshiner?
No. My dad lived. My dad owned it was Hog Heaven, a motorcycle shop in Columbus, Ohio. I think it's called Broad Street, downtown Columbus, and. His wife, my stepmother, which was an amazing woman. She passed away a couple years ago, and she when they was up there, I don't know what actually made him move there. I don't know the reason. I don't think it was
cheaper
because he wanted to be around me or something. I don't think that was the case either. But what I think was, she had a job transfer her job transferred him, and my dad you know, lived there before he moved, so it was like perfect. And they bought a house up there, and they been there for 40 or probably 35 years. And my stepmother passed away a couple years ago, so you know, my father's getting older, so he had never met my wife, and it was exciting. That was a big part of the trip. It was exciting. My father got to meet my wife for the very first time. We stayed there a few days, and that was a big part of the trip.
That's cool though. That's the one difference between me and my trips, is that usually it's like, hey, we're going to LA. We'll be in LA Monday night, and then we're leaving Tuesday. So you don't get to you don't get to decompress from the ride or the trip. It's like you're just there, and then as soon as you like get comfortable, you're like, well, we're on the road again. You know what I mean? So I gotta pee right quick. It's all good. As soon as you hit play, the cricket starts up. It's all good.
We could never find that cricket in here, could we?
No, I don't think we could.
No, I don't think so.
We have to tear the shop apart.
Yeah, I don't know what.
That's a loud fucking cricket.
Did it come in because of the door?
I don't think so. Where were we talking about though before we? Fuck.
Hold on.
Oh, you stayed with your dad for 3 days. Yeah. So how was, like, I guess, was that on your ride back that you stopped through there?
That was after we left Virginia Beach. We came up through West Virginia, and we stayed in the Hawks Nest, New River Gorge area, and then we went over to my dad, and she got to meet my dad. That was pretty exciting. I was like, so I guess to touch base on like some more motorcycles, my mother had passed away when I was a young age. You know, I was always like looked up to my dad. My dad was, you know, he owned motorcycle shops, tattoo shops. He was, you know, pretty well known, and it was exciting to me. You know, he sent me, you know, like mini bikes that look like Harleys, and you know, all this cool stuff. You know, as a little boy, and so you know, I started off like that, and you know, and my dad would come around, and he would ride me on all the motorcycles. And when I stayed with him, you know, so I was like born into motorcycles. You know, my dad was a diehard, you know, motorcycle guy, and so my mother passed away when I was 13 years old, and so I moved in with my dad, and that is it was a little different. It was awkward for me, you know, because my mother was she was a certain way, like super neat, and my father was I guess, you know, bikers back in the 70s and 80s, you know, it was a little different, you know, and so at first, you know, I was excited, you know, because of motorcycles, and I thought everything was like permanent and it was mine, and you know, my father sells a lot of motorcycles, so everything changed all the time. I wasn't used to it, you know, so I, you know, by the time I was like 16, you know, I had my own place, you know, but to fast forward, you know, me and my father kind of had words, you know, many years ago, and that's what brought me to California, and I made a life in California, and you know, in the last, you know, few years, you know, because my father's got a lot older, you know, so we able to kind of talk. Yeah, we're on a really good, you know, relationship. We have a really good relationship now, and it was important on this ride across country that me and my wife was on for, you know, her to meet my father for the very first time. You know, she had never met him in person, you know, and it was exciting for him to, you know, because you know, he's pretty much, you know, he's lonely now. You know, he's like one of them old bikers that, you know, his wife's gone, and he's old, and it was a big deal, you know, for her to meet him, and it was emotional a little bit here and there. I felt it inside, but you know, I always glorified my dad, you know, even if I didn't tell him I did, you know, because that's the person I am today, is because I looked up to what he done. You know, I was born into motorcycles, you know. was riding on my dad's motorcycle.
Did you ever have like a point where you feel like maybe you were rebellious at all against it?
Well,
or like trying to push bikes out of your life? You know, because sometimes when people have that, they have like that like predetermined fate that's not exactly pushed. Like my dad was a painter, and I did not want to fucking paint. Like I just wanted to do anything but that, you know. But then it's kind of like it was my only foot in the door in life.
I don't think actually at that point, like my mother passed away when I was 13. I think at a young age, I don't think I knew what I wanted to do. You know, I was traumatized from where my mother had passed away. I was a total, you know, mommy's boy is what they would call it. You know, I had a lot of nice stuff, and then I went to this like biker life, you know, and then you know, I wanted to be, I guess what you say, something different. I reached out, you know, but I still liked motorcycles, but I didn't want to be where he was and live there and all this, you know.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I had this part, like I grew up around that shit too. I remember like these old bikers that lived next door to us that we kind of were always around. They had this like, you know, those little mason jars, like little ball mason jar or whatever you'd see. It's like that old timey shit with little
moonshine.
Moonshine. Yeah. But it looked like it was like this white cream shit, and it said hair growth for men, biker cum or some shit, and it was just on their shelf with their family photo. It's just this weird. It was.
I never seen anything like that.
Well, yeah, it was just the point of it was just like it was just a completely different lifestyle. It was almost like this super rebellious thing from like a real rebellious feel. From
I've seen a lot of other crazy shit. That's probably on the same level you're talking about.
This was a family thing.
So that's I guess what I was trying to say. But yeah, I can get personal. Like the things that he done and stuff. I enjoyed the motorcycle part of it, but the life and the stuff like that, I didn't understand it because I didn't see anything like that around my mother. There was a lot of stuff, you know, and so, you know, I just went out on my own, but I always reached back. My dad was very supportive of me, and I learned as being older, throughout the last 7 years with our life being the way it is now, I learned looking back, my dad loved me the only way he knew how to love me, you know. My mother loved me unconditionally. It was different, you know.
Yeah, like she made you her life.
Oh, I was like...
And your dad might have just had his own life and you were a part of it.
He just loved me the way he knew how to love me, you know. He was a little more rough around the edges, you know, and that's, looking back, you know, that's what it was, but there was always the part of me that loved what he had, you know, the cars, the motorcycles, the life he had, you know, was appealing as a young guy, you know. So what I took from my father was the motorcycle side, as far as like, I guess he wanted me to be a tattoo artist, you know. I guess at one point, yeah, he did. You know, he's like, maybe you need to learn how to start tattooing. He owned like 7 tattoo shops, you know, in like the, you know, 70s and 80s and all that, when they wasn't everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
He was involved in all that. So you know, and I didn't want to be a tattoo artist, you know. I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I wanted like his motorcycles, you know, and his motorcycles was actually his motorcycles, and his cars was his. And I learned that I have to go and get my stuff. So I guess, you know, I wasn't handed motorcycles and all this, you know, but I went and got motorcycles, and, you know, and I did follow, I guess, in the footsteps of my father, because, you know, monkey see, monkey do, and that's what it is as far as the motorcycle life. But, you know, the rest of it, I just wasn't used to it. I don't think I even know how to answer that as far as like, did I want to do this or that? I don't think I knew what I wanted to do at that point. I was traumatized. You know, my mother had passed away. So I was just trying to figure out something, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe at that time, you know, I was a little obnoxious, you know, because, you know, I went to my dad's. I had it made. I had all the cool stuff that people would actually want. But where I came from, you know, like it was a lot more neater. But, you know, it was like at my dad's, you know, people would love that I could bring my motorcycle in and work on it if I wanted to. Like I could never have done that at my mother's house, you know. So, you know, there was a lot of cool stuff that I could do that I didn't even appreciate, you know, that I see, you know, I guess it's a long story, and I really don't know how to explain that, other than the fact that, I wanted to bring up my father. I wanted people to know, that he is the reason that I am what I am, as far as the motorcycle industry and the passion I have, because, he handed that to me, and it was like just there, and I picked it up, and I've always had the passion for the bikes and stuff.
So what's some of your history? Like you didn't just pop out of the world into the world, right?
So my history, I did not grow up around motorcycles. My parents are really supportive now of it because they absolutely love Jack. But I didn't grow up around it.
What part of like LA?
Right here, pretty much right here. I grew up in like private Christian schools. I went to Hawaii for college, and that's where I started like just partying and getting out of control, and that's why I have 6 years clean, is because I didn't know how to handle my shit. I was just crazy. But I mean, like, my parents are still together.
Yeah.
They like love each other still, that's like the role models I had. They love Jack. They've loved Jack from the beginning,
That's cool.
Because Jack is a part of my recovery. He's helped me stay clean. I'd probably like be dead if it wasn't for Jack, honestly. So they see that and they love him and they support us, right, baby?
Yeah. They was a little. Her parents has accepted me from day one, but in the beginning they were a little iffy about the motorcycles. She comes from a more sheltered type environment, and her parents are different than like anything in the motorcycle industry. So in the beginning, like, for like to speak on the motorcycles, like with her parents, they was like, I don't know about that part, but everything else is amazing, so but they supported us from the beginning, and she comes from a good home, but they was a little like, when she got her own motorcycle, her
they're
father
still
was
a
like,
little like, so you
he was
rode
like,
it
you need to
cross
stop
country.
that,
Yeah, I mean, there's still like, my dad is like protective, and my mom loves the hell out of me, so it's like there's still some fear there, but they're like, that's what you guys do. So how do we go about navigating that?
I think they're a little more at peace now than they were in the beginning, but it's one of them deals. Her parents are like they support us in anything, any decision that we make, and they really put us high on a pedestal, like as far as like what we can accomplish, and but it's not spoken on now, but I'm speaking, like assuming, I don't know if they fully accept the motorcycle part of the relationship. They learned, I think, to accept it with me, but with her, they was a little bit like, okay, now our daughter's a biker. That's the way they looked at it. They don't know, like, we're just like riding. We have, they see the bikers like we was talking about, how we were raised around. They probably seen that vision of it, but no, her parents is good,
I mean, they also know they have a daughter that's incredibly insane sometimes, and they've seen me go through insanity, so it's like she wants to ride a motorcycle, like, we're not surprised, like, not surprised by it.
And even without interrupting you, your father did say to me, hey, if that keeps her from doing wild things, maybe it is okay, because like I said, earlier in speaking for us both, we haven't always been perfect, today I think we're more responsible than we were 7 years ago, but
hold on, I don't mean to interrupt, but like, without the like riding a motorcycle, I know like it would be a lot different, because I didn't have that like adrenaline high that I had like on drugs, or that whatever feeling that you get, euphoric feeling when you're drinking or doing drugs or whatever. Like, I have that on a motorcycle.
She
it's
gets
like
peace from it.
I also get peace, but I also get a rush from it, and then I also have peace from it. So it's like a combination, like a perfect combination for me, It's like what helps me.
You can almost like attest that like bikes also give like each of you, something to look forward to within your relationship and outside of it, because I imagine, you know, your whole business is wrapped around bikes. You love bikes, and then you've had that together now, so you get to share that together. But now she's probably got her own like world within bikes that she's interested in. You know what I mean? Like it's like her thing too, and you know what I mean? Like that's a good dynamic, or a really interesting dynamic, in my opinion.
I think it's helped our relationship. You know, before, like when I didn't ride, like he'd talk about motorcycles and I wasn't really fully into it, you know, and then the second I got like my own bike, I was a part of it. You know, I could ride with them, I could do the things with them, and then it became like, you know, something that we could do together.
I'm like assuming that the conversation became more intense.
Yeah, because like our relationship before, you know, the first, you know, we loved each other first couple years, and it was like I'm surprised we're not talking about more bikes on here. You know, it's like I eat, sleep, and breathe bikes, and so I was like, maybe sound like an illiterate, because that was the only conversation I had, and you know, it's boring to some people. You know what I mean? I guess is the right way to say it. And she's like, "Can we talk about the stars or something?" I'm like, "What the fuck? Why not talk about more bikes? Because that's like the thing to do." And now I have more balance, and I know there is outside of bikes. I do have a life, you know, but it is about the bikes. But now I've learned throughout the years that there's balance in a relationship, you know. And
I'm learning that now, so I'm
yeah,
I'm trying to, you know, when I leave town, that all that shit comes into perspective. Like, oh shit, I've been a dick for like a month now.
Yeah.
But then when I'm there, it's like I'm I think you said a while ago, I'm like in my own world all the time, where I like to say I'm just being selfish with my attention. You know what I mean? To where I'm just putting my attention in what I feel like is important, and not what, you know, my significant other feels like is important.
Yeah, but it helps if your significant other is in the same world as you. Like now we're both connected, and we're connected to the I mean, he's always been connected.
I mean, I have like what I was trying to say is like, okay, so I my focus is motorcycles. It pays the bills. So that's my conversation, even when it ain't recreational. You know, so
it's because it's your hobby.
Well,
and your job.
Yeah, what did you do? Well, this is it, and it's still about motorcycles with me. You know, so now I can justify it. You know, I guess is what I try to do is say, okay, well, I'm talking about work, you know, but like I was saying, balance. So I guess in 7 years I've grown a little bit, you know, as far as like relationship wise, you know, and so I try to set aside, you know, time for other conversations or watching movies or what.
Yeah, and escape from this too.
Yeah. Because you know, it does wear me out, because you know, I wear myself out with this. You see what I'm saying?
Because you're passionate about
it. Because I can go on forever with it. You know, as far as like you know, searching, selling, or riding, or looking, or you know, to have something to do, and to pull away from family, such as her family, her parents, as we was talking about. You know, I can like pull away from all that for it, you know, but I've learned balance, you know, like I do have good in-laws, so I'm like I don't have to, I'm like get to, you know, go spend Christmas with them, you know, rather than what I would do before that as a Christmas ride, you know. So I do different stuff, you know. I do stuff on Christmas and your Mother's Day and Father's Day, and you know, and
all those holidays.
And I do every
and I do family
holiday
stuff, you know, outside of that, where I used to think that Christmas was for a motorcycle ride. Yeah. You know?
Well, we always look at just the toy run. That's our Christmas.
Yeah, there you go. So, I'm going to a toy run. You know.
So after the, you know, I think I asked you this. I can't remember what you said, though. It was like the part with your dad, was that on the way back? Like you were already making your way back at that point?
Yeah, it was after we had left Virginia. We went to up there, and that's what I was saying, in Hawksnest, and then spent a few days with him, and then from there is when we went up, you know, like through Indiana, through
then
Illinois.
after we left West Virginia, after we left
was
his
the
dad's,
race
it was like a race
to get
for
to FXRs.
FXRs of California. Literally a race. Like we had this many miles in this many days, and basically it was like gas and go, beef sick, and a Red
y'all
Bull.
went through pretty much the northern part. So would y'all go through like Wyoming a little bit?
we
Yeah,
went through
all the
Wyoming.
way.
You skip around the mountains and shit, or at least the top of the Rockies. It's a little bit easier to drop in.
Well, I started to go that way.
Oh, you were going to Sacramento anyway.
Yeah,
So you can just take, what is that, 80?
I could have. I went across to 80. I could have slipped down through the Rockies and then pulled back up
To Salt Lake and shit.
Yeah, I didn't, but I did. I took the 80 across and I dropped down through Salt Lake and then straight through, across into Reno and then into Northern California, right into Sacramento.
How was the FXR show this year? I haven't been. I was kind of thinking I might be able to swing it to where I would have been here a week before, but it just didn't work out at work. So I got to live vicariously through you.
Oh, it was good. We got there. I think we got to the Holiday Inn. It was like 1:00 in the morning. There was actually about 5 or 6 people from Southern California. It was there. Actually, like 2 of the bikes that I had sold was there. People had rode up there, and we had a great room there at the Holiday Inn, and we went to bed. We was very tired. Like I said, we rode like 980 miles. We got up the next day. We went over there. It was a little bit hot, but the show, the people, the bikes, everything was great about it, because I hadn't been to the FXRs of California for like 4 years. And the last time I went, it was over in an industrial area on a street.
Yeah, I heard about that area.
And then it was much bigger, it was much different. There was a lot of people there, some good wheelie guys there, lots of nice bikes. John was up there. John Jessup was up there. Got to talk to him. We've seen a lot of people. And anybody that listens to it, that's why I was saying, I can't say it enough, the way they treated us, and I appreciate the FXRs of California and Dana and everybody that gave us stuff, the stuff that they gave us. They gave us, as a matter of fact, this hat that I'm wearing right now, the Chopper Kings, is that what they are? Yeah. Chopper Kings, they gave us this, and she got some stuff, she'll tell you that, but Thunderheader gave me a Thunderheader for my RT, probably because they want that R&B racing pipe off of it, and I'm cool with it. I'll put the Thunderheader on it.
Trunk out front.
I like Thunderheaders. A lot of guys would say keep that on there because they done mentioned it when I posted it. But I'll use that on this. I'm going to build this bike over here. I'd rather have the Thunderheader on that.
We got Dunlop tires for like riding the longest distance there. Oh. So we each got new sets of tires, which was like
helpful.
Yeah, which was rad.
They gave us 2 vouchers for Dunlops for each one of our bikes.
Yeah, it was like they welcomed us. It was like amazing. It was like a good end.
Shit, people want to fucking like show. That's the kind of shit people want to see, man.
It
was amazing. They pulled our bikes all dirty into the bike show, full of like.
Yeah, that's why I got the Thunderheader for the best touring, and I was like,
full of bugs.
What is going on here? Like, I don't
we talk. Like I said, it's so crazy because we talk about this kind of shit all the time. It's like, I think that a lot of those shows, especially FXR shows, most people don't really give a shit about a show. Yeah. Right? You're just trying to hang out with all the other FXR
That's what it's
guys.
about, yeah.
But it's cool that instead of like making it about, this guy's got the most money or this is the most this, it's like, this guy did the raddest shit on this bike. That I think is,
I felt awkward. Yeah. Like I walked over there and it said best touring FXR touring or whatever hot bike, put it on there. Thunderheader put it on there. It had the sponsors like there was 2, and I was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "What is this doing on my bike?" My bike looked like total shit. Which, not to brag about my bike, but I had a 92 matching numbers FXRT, and to me, that's a badass bike. And and not to mention, it's the 2-tone one. A couple of guys has had them. They know what I'm talking about, and they're very rare, you know. And she put that on there, and I went to Dana and I was like, "What is this?" She said, "I don't know." And so I go over there, and the lady that represents Thunder, it was Tamara. Is that what it is? Tamara, I think is her name. She goes, "You have the 92 RT?" And I go, "Yeah, the one with all the bugs on it." And they're like, "Yeah, you want a Thunderheader?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck yeah." And as a matter of fact, I talked to her the day after that, or 2 days later, and she said, "You have floorboards on your RT?" And I said, "Correct." She goes, "Okay, we're making that pipe. Give us a few weeks." And fuck, dude, they gave us all kinds of shit up there, man.
That's cool though.
It was great. I loved it. You know, actually, I may have had more fun there than I have any show in a while.
It was like the perfect end to our trip, because that was like, you know, our destination for our end. You know, it was just a ride home after that.
How was it for you though, doing that 980? Like, that's an accomplishment. A lot of grown men ain't got those kind of balls.
I mean, we had some place to go, and we needed to be there, and I wanted to be there. My mark was on Friday. You know, I know the show was Saturday. We could have got in on Saturday, but we like wanted to make it there on Friday, or I did, you know. So we pushed. I mean,
did you feel like it was like at some point in the day did you go like, "Man, I'm just done"? Because riding 1,000 miles is almost a 24-hour endeavor, depending on what kind of stops you make and whether or not you give your...
Yeah, it was hard. It was extremely hard, you know, but...
She rode from, like, I got up at 5, and
You're going west, too, so you gain hours.
Yeah, so we gained, like, 2 hours or whatever. And I got her up, like, at 6, you know, and so we pretty much gassed and goed, and... Like she said, you know, ate a beef and cheese stick, drank a Red Bull or water, whatever it was we needed, and she just kept pushing. And I think when we pulled in up there, it was like at our room, I think it was like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I was done. I was absolutely just done by then.
Yeah, she went in, like I said, there was like so many people out there welcoming, "Hey man," you know. I was
tired.
And she crashed.
Yeah,
you know?
I was so tired.
Yeah, it's crazy because the first time I ever did 1,000 miles, the first trip I ever took to Cali, we left Dallas and went straight to Tempe, or to Chandler, Arizona. It's 1,100 miles.
Yeah.
And we did that Iron Butt Challenge where you do all the gas stops and all this shit. I never turned in all my paperwork to get the patch, but we did the Iron Butt, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
But when we got there, we were so hyped about, fuck, we did it. We did 1,000. We did 1,100 miles, bitch. You know, like what? We just wanted to go to, you know, get a beer.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no.
Yeah, I just wanted to. I was
Everybody
exhausted.
drinks a beer.
Yeah, I was fucking just exhausted after that.
I've rode it, and and it's a rough one because you say you bring up Texas again. Fuck Texas. God damn, it's long, man. I was coming out of Melbourne, Florida on a bike. Matter of fact, it was a 93 FXRP, and I stayed right there, right coming into Texas. So I got up the next morning, like, I don't know, 4 o'clock, left by 5. I rode from there and stayed in New Mexico. So I rode like over 1,000, almost 1,100 miles. Damn. And it was a fucking job, man. By the time I got there, I think, and I was running like 100 miles an hour through there. Just, you know, that bike was a fucking cruiser. It was, you know, like I said, it was a 93 FXRP, and it was just fucking comfortable. It had the spring, you know, cop seat. It was a fucking Cadillac. I came all the way through there, gas and go, didn't even take the helmet off many a times. So that was like the farthest I ever rode at one time, you know, and it was torture too. It was middle of summer.
You know, there's a I can't remember if it's Houston or Dallas, but one of them is from Dallas to El Paso, or from Houston to El Paso is halfway from here, from LA to Dallas, or LA to Houston, I can't remember.
Yeah.
So it's like I think it is Houston, because Houston is a little bit further. It's a little bit further.
A little farther, yeah.
Because from Dallas to LA to like downtown LA is like right at 1,400 miles.
Yeah.
I think, and it's like just over 600 miles. So I think it is Houston. I think Houston's like 700 miles.
Yeah.
From Houston to El Paso.
Yeah, it's far.
And so I was telling my daughter that because she, this is her first road trip. I'm
It's a long
El Paso,
yeah,
is halfway. She's
yeah.
like, no.
When you come in,
geez.
I think when you come in on the 10 and when you cross the Texas state line, I think it's like right at 900 miles, like 890 miles or something. That from there to the other side. Mm-hmm. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
It's so long, man, that it's like. It's
really nothing really changes. That's the other thing. Like you get some mountains out there in West Texas, especially if you break off onto 20, those mountains end right then, and it's just like I feel like I know a lot of homies out in Midland, Odessa, but that's just like, you ever been to a junkyard? And you know how the dirt is just kind of like not real dirt. It's almost like Bondo dust and fucking car rim. It's just this weird feel, and that's what I feel like in West Texas. I feel like it's just like the dirt that's just been hoarded out for fucking centuries, and it's just this synthetic shit. But
I feel weird with the dirt down on the 10, like especially once you get halfway through, from there to, like El Paso, that long, dusty, dirty part of the highway. Fuck, I'd rather do anything than ride that. It's a job. It turns into a fucking job through there to me.
So what do you think? Like, have you seen these new bikes that came out? Like, have you even paid attention to that shit at all?
If
you didn't,
I have. Yeah, I mean, I looked at them.
Everybody's got an opinion right now about them, right?
So when like for an example, what was it last year when the soft-tailed Dyna, whatever they call it, when it came out? I wasn't one of the guys that was pissed off because I thought to myself, well, for one, I can sell more bikes. I'll go and get the good bikes. I don't care, Yeah. But that's a good subject, and I was actually wanting to talk about this because the thing is, to me, is I don't care for change, because we can change a lot. I can still have what I have, I think it's okay, Are they like appealing, all of them? No. Do I think Harley's fucking up? I think that's a small group of people on the West Coast, and maybe a few that mingle social media with them, and it's drama that people are worried about it. Okay, I could be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right. This is my opinion. I think outside of this group of what we're talking about, everybody else is okay with it. The people that we're not talking to, the person in Iowa or Oklahoma or whatever, they're okay with these bikes, okay, because they're selling these FXRs and Dynas and stuff. Whereas people think that on this West Coast where this drama is with the new bikes, where do they think these fucking bikes are coming from? They're coming from these people that want that change, and we're getting what I call gold and bringing back. So I'm okay with it like that. I don't think Harley is gonna go under because a group of and I'm a Dyna FXR guy. A group of Dyna and FXR guys don't want to buy their bike. That's a small part of the.
Yeah, there's a lot of one thing I'm really, because we've me and John did a 4-hour podcast about this, and me and FXR Mike did a 3-hour podcast about this, but there's a lot of different arguments for different perspectives or different theories. You know what I mean? So like, there was a Bloomberg article. This was our whole podcast, me and John. There's a Bloomberg article on the millennial biker is what I think it was called.
That's what I think they're trying to hit, is the millennials, and they're going for the global market too.
And it's some super nerdy shit, to be honest with you, super nerdy. But there's a lot of statements in that thing that, and mind you, this isn't from Harley's mouth. This is from Bloomberg, which who the fuck knows what media is trustworthy now. But the way that they talked about how Harley was ashamed of the culture they have, like what we are, what our dads were, what their dads were. All these people for the last 115 years that were building this culture of Harley. And if you've been around, you know that metric bikes have been doing anything they could to get that culture, to get that sound of that pipe, to get people to fucking tattoo a Harley, bar and shield on them.
Yeah.
Nobody's fucking putting Yamaha forks, and if they are, they're definitely not getting laid. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this article is basically saying that Harley's denouncing all of that culture that they have, all of this gold, but it's not physical money. It's like they own something that's worth a lot more.
It's a lifestyle.
They own something that nobody else has.
Yeah.
And I guess what you just said, I can agree to. I can agree to that. I do agree that change is good in a lot of ways. And I think that the way I'm leaning right now is, and this is something I expressed in other ones, I think that there's nothing wrong with, like, maybe Harley, just like they've done with Baggers and Sportsters, carry on a model long, I get it. We can't bring the FXR back, and whether they should or not, who gives a shit? That's not happening. So it will. But they could build a bike. They could have taken the Dyna and just made it better, fixed the wobble, maybe better frame, and still have that market and just improve it, just like they do a Camaro, just like they do a Mustang, just like they do all these other cars.
Right.
Where they just continue the model and it gets better, and sometimes like Chargers did. Hey, jump back and retro this Charger and reboot our whole company by going back off some old style.
Well, I personally don't think that it's over. I mean,
I don't think it's over.
I mean, because here's the thing. Okay, you brought up Chargers or Mustangs. Okay, what a 70 model Charger is today is not
the new one.
I mean, what a 1970 model Charger was versus today's Charger. People done the same thing to them, Yeah. It wasn't as dramatic, but I guess my answer to this is and I want you or whoever that I'm talking to at that moment to understand. I'm not like so much like whether they're going under or not. I'm like over here going, you know what? It's me and you and a handful of other FXR guys and Dyna guys and that are politically talking about this, Yeah. It's and I stand firm behind it, and there's so many other outside of this circle,
Yeah.
that are still going to buy these bikes, okay?
Yeah.
They have been in business for 115 years. Okay, we're gonna voice our opinion. They're never gonna hear it, nor do they give a fuck, And they're still gonna. They already have the name. Okay, it's still gonna sell. Is in our time.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're just gonna and they're gonna like. 5 years from now, say they bring the Dyna back we'll use that for an example, and then they can bring it back and it's drama, okay?
Yeah.
Because somebody else is going to go, that's not what we wanted, okay?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like the other Dyna. Well, they're not going to make the same fucking Dyna they made in 2001. They're not going to do it, I don't think so.
I don't know, but they're trying to get, so we're already hooked on Harley. It's already in our blood, on our skin, whatever. It's already there, They're trying to hook the new generation to get the same
Right.
passion, and to do that, they have to change because they don't like, if you put an FXR and a new bike, next to each other and you ask a 20-something-year-old kid, hey, which one you like better?
That lives in Nebraska.
That has nothing to do, that doesn't know anything really about motorcycle. They're going to pick that new Harley, whether you like it or not, And so that's what I think Harley's trying to do, is trying to rope the new generation, get them addicted to motorcycles, get them a passion for motorcycles.
So if both of you guys worked at a Harley dealership and every customer that walked in, like, think about it like this, would you sell to that customer based on what you think the crowd he's going to fit into, or the
I would just ask them, like, what do you like?
Well,
what do you
so you're finding out what
he doesn't know what he likes, I think.
Yeah, so he doesn't know what he's, but the things he's into, the kind of crowd, like every Harley model has a crowd. That's,
I agree.
Relatively different in a sense. So, his personality might fit more with baggers, and maybe he's looking at Sportster. Maybe this is the one time you should be selling him a bagger, because that crowd is gonna make him. He's gonna feel more welcome in that scene, because that, like, damn, this bike's shit. It's kind of a weird thing. Like, you can look at these bikes and talk about how amazing they are, but there's some parts, and maybe this is a theory, they wouldn't mean as much if it wasn't full of badass people. Or
exactly.
The people, the friends that you have.
And that's kind of what I was trying to say there.
My argument is if that same 20-year-old kid is looking at two different bikes, what are you going to do? Hey, this bike's cool, but nobody likes it. So no one's going to like you if you buy it. This bike's badass. Everybody likes this bike. It's old. It's a pain in the ass to work on sometimes if you don't know what you're looking at. But you're going to enjoy the people that come with this bike. That's not a sales tactic that's going to work to anybody.
No. That's not.
But that's what they have, though. They have that.
Yeah.
And so when you have a bike that has a culture to it, that culture keeps growing. So now, if you continue the Dyna or you continue the FXR, like they have the Sportster, there's a culture that's still there and it's growing every year. They were selling Dynas. I don't give a fuck what they say. They were selling Dynas.
I don't understand that. We don't understand that at all.
No, we're not even saying that they should have stopped the Dyna or should have recreated it or whatever the hell they did with it.
And the Softail was not a bad thing. Like, I think the Softails are nice. I wish they would have made a swing arm bike differently, or that new swing arm they put on that fucking sport bike they just released. That swing arm would have looked dope on the Softails, because it looks more cool beefy, and more sporty.
Yeah, but they have like 20-something-year-old in R&D, right? They're doing research and development, and they're young kids.
And they're selling $22,000 bikes to young people.
That's who they're hiring. They're hiring the new generation.
Yeah, and that's basically
the fact.
I think that the bikes they're coming out with are relatively interesting. Especially not the one they just released. I gotta stick to my
That's
guns.
Terrible.
I think it's a bad idea.
I'd ride the adventure bike if I could touch the ground.
He's speaking on the one that just got.
No, I know exactly.
The FXDR.
That one, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
the CVO Road Glide.
That's
sick.
Can we get a little? That I showed him. I was like, ooh wee, look at this baby.
If they could just, like, instead of trying to redesign the wheel all the time, they just took something that worked and make it better.
Yeah.
The baggers are fucking phenomenal, and they're better than they were. I bought a brand new 2012, and then I bought a brand new 2017. That 17 was fucking dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you on that part.
But now this new one, like, first off, I'm not spending $45,000 on any motorcycle ever. But
at one time,
if you had it,
because my mindset now is like, even at $20,000, I'm like, dude, I could buy like 4 FXRs for this much money. But it's a weird thing, man. It's a weird thing, and FXR Mike said it best. I'm not necessarily looking to buy a bike, but I do care about the industry. I do want it to grow. And my other friend, Zombie Mike, said, a rising tide floats all ships or boats or whatever he said. So if Harley's doing good, you're doing good, and I'm doing good, and we're all making money in this industry. If Harley crashes, which we know they're not going to do that, but if they start making bikes that aren't, once again referencing another podcast, John said it best from Purpose Built. These new bikes are overstyled. So you're buying a bike that you can't personalize. What are you going to do? You buy an FXR and you got a lowrider tank, you got this, or let's just say a Dyna. You got the Fat Bob, which nobody wanted, and then you got the Super Glide, you got the lowrider, and then if you want to be some OG Dyna dudes, you got the T Sport, the DX, and the Defender. So you have these models that all of them you can travel the country on. All of them you can beef up and make them performance. Canyon runners, wheelie runner, rippers. Lane splitting, just you could do so many things on this bike, and now these new bikes seem, like
over personalized,
over
stylized,
to where, like, I don't even know if you can even put mid controls on some of these bikes they're coming out with.
That's exactly, and here's another part of that. These bikes are getting expensive. Okay,
fucking expensive.
So the bike, it's $20,000, will be $28,000. If we go and buy one, because all this stuff that we want has to come off and put on.
Yeah.
So they need to get the price down on these bikes, I guess, if we're talking in a language for people like us, right? Because we can't, like, enjoy it the way it is And who's going to pay $20,000 and then spend $8 on top on a brand new bike? You know, we're going to spend a lot of money if you keep a bike a long time, but it's like out of the box, you're looking at it and it's like $20,000. And then, okay, so I want this, and this, and you got $28,000 in it, and you haven't even rode it yet if you want it the way you want it.
And it's just hardly customized at that point.
So a platform their platform is overstyled for stuff that we don't need.
Yeah.
As you know, the type of bikes we like. So we're gonna have to spend a fortune on it.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I think the other thing to help sell to younger people is obviously something that's super popular. I mean, just amongst social media. So that's what I'm basing my facts on. Is traveling. Especially motorcycle traveling. I mean, fucking all these chopper dudes really romanticize the idea of hopping on a bike and riding across country with your buddies, and that's what I feel like brought a lot of young people, all these hipsters on choppers and shit. You know what I mean? Like that brought these people in this industry, and now a lot of these dudes you see them kind of evolving in the Dynas because like, this bike never starting is kind of getting annoying or something breaking all the time. So they're kind of, man, this Dyna looks like it's fun. So I see Dynas getting more popular and FXRs getting more popular right now.
Absolutely. Because
the chopper people, I feel like, brought a lot of attention into motorcycles to a younger generation because of the Instagram culture behind it, right? And so if Harley was trying to capitalize off a younger market, you're not selling a lifestyle anymore. That's what Harley always was. And now I don't see the lifestyle behind this $22,000 bike. I see a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right. And that's where you and me and anybody that feels like we do have to go, okay, we have to, you either give up or you say, okay, and you accept it because we can't change it.
Yeah.
And you absolutely just stay with what you love anyways.
True. And that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you know, and I'm not like on their side. I don't give a shit. They don't give me nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if that's what they're going to do, we have to say, okay, nothing that any of us post on Instagram about how fucked up they are is going to change what the fuck they put on the floor tomorrow.
We all just got to say something now so that in 5 years, we're like, fucking told you.
Told you so.
Told you so.
Yeah.
No,
5 years from now, they can fucking, they you know what, 5 years from now, I'm going to still have my badass bikes.
Yeah.
You know? I can't, like, I'm not going to go and buy one of those bikes, you know?
Yeah.
Like I said, if I'm going to buy a new bike, you know, people might not like it, but I'm probably going to buy, like, the KTM or BMW adventure bike. But I don't want no fucking payment, to be honest with you. And I'm not going to trade one of those for it, you know?
Absolutely not.
So until I find a good deal on one, I'm not going to have one of those either. But I'm not going to, like, you know what? Me and her lay in the bed and go, look at this. What the fuck? So we're talking about what they're talking about. It's just like, and then the next guy, you know, it's all over. There's nothing you can change about it. It's going to happen. Yeah. Do I think they should have got rid of the Dyna? Absolutely not. But why they had the fucking Dyna, everybody bitched about the wobble.
Yeah.
Okay? So now they got rid of the goddamn thing. Everybody wants it back.
Yeah, it's because our human nature is to not be okay with anything.
And I get it.
So,
you know?
And we're in the outrage culture right now where everything is not okay.
I don't give a shit about any of them outside of
the only bike I have that works right now is a fucking 2001 2 lowrider that I fixed all up, and I fucking ride the shit out of it. But
that's the bike that I'm getting ready to say. As far as Dynas, I just want the 2000 to 5s anyways, you know.
Yeah, I don't even like the newer ones,
you know. And the FXRs, you know, I want them, you know, and maybe a couple of cool bikes like that panhead there, because you know they're valuable. It's money in the bank, and who wouldn't want to own knuckleheads and panheads and shit, you know? Even, you know, but I'm not even to that part of my life to where I need to go in and buy one of them fucking new bikes and get my $500 gift card and get my fucking leather vest with strings down the side of it. And
I totally won't.
You know, I'm not even there. So I you know, I have never since day one, and she knows, and she's the same way. We've not like in our house, we're not like dramatic over it, you know?
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah, we're not trying to throw negativity out. Honestly, like when we see the bike, we're like,
you know what?
But we don't like bash it. We're
there's
not on
a
there
guy
going,
out
"Fuck
there,
this."
you know, and a lot of people's like, oh, he's fucked up because he's got those bikes. It's easy to say, but there's a guy out there that wants that fucking bike.
Yeah.
Okay, so
let him have it.
Let him
be
have the
proud of it. At
motherfucker.
least he has a Harley, you know.
Yeah.
and you know what? All
it a
these
Harley?
guys that are saying
is
this,
it?
okay,
Yeah.
and when they wake up and understand this, okay, all this that's going on right now, okay, and if you're worried about your grandkids, then we can start over. But they're only making what you have more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're only making that in the next 5 years that 01 T Sport more valuable. Okay, because it's more desirable now. Okay,
Yeah.
if you really want these fucking things, they're out there. You know, so I think the Dyna will come back.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna come back with something really fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like maybe something, and I could be wrong. Maybe I'm on a hope. I don't know.
Yeah.
And even why I'm on a hope, I don't know, because I'm not going to go buy it.
Well, it's exciting to see. Like when I got here into California today, driving through, I told my daughter what a Dynabro was. I was like, and she's like, "Hey, look, there's one.
Yeah.
There's, you know, like lane splitting. They got,
Yeah.
you know, fucking got the kit going on."
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm like, "Fuck yeah, those are my people." I don't even know who this guy is. I'm like, "Do I follow this guy?" You know?
Yeah.
But it's just cool to see it. Like it's cool to see people doing the shit that we see online in person. You know, like that's something different for us. Because like I said, in Texas, you know, we have a lot of Dynas, we have a lot of this culture, but it's kind of like. You're not going to drive to work, and if you see a fucking T-Sport fairing, even if it's a knockoff, you're like, who the fuck is this dude in my town with this?
Yeah.
How do I not know this guy? Like, it's that small there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, the only reason I think that I'm vocal about it is because, once again, my friend Zombie Mike said something to me, because he's a long-time booze fighter, you know, guy. He said that he doesn't want this culture to die under him. You know what I mean? And that spoke a lot to me.
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
get it.
I don't want, you know, he says his brothers from his club. He says, my brothers paved the way for me to be here and be enjoying this world. And I don't want my laziness or my lack of caring of what I'm helping build fall under my reign, you know? And this is somebody as a member of a club talking about the motorcycle industry or the culture. Let's just say the culture is a better way to put it. And so it's like, it makes you think, like, you know, and that's why, like us, we're hosting a big camp out.
And those are strong words, what he said.
Very strong.
And I understand that. And that's like a one-on-one conversation. And that's between you and him. But the other guys didn't hear that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And that's,
so with only you and him saying it and you hearing it, and then you telling me and me speaking to the next guy about what he said,
well,
it's hard to carry that message, Joe.
It is hard, you know, but that's why we talk about it on here. But the good thing about it is that guys like you that have influence, you know, and you love this culture, it's like you almost get, what's that Spider-Man quote? Like, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
You kind of get to this point where it's like it's up to guys like you and Joe Kidd and fucking all the FXR guys and all the, you know, the dinosaur, you know, what is his name on Instagram around here?
Kevin.
These guys out here to carry that culture on and make it interesting for people to want to get in. You know what I mean? It's a weird ask for anybody, but, you know, like my son, you know, I have an 8-year-old son. He might be into bikes. He might not. Who knows? But if he got into bikes, man, I'd want him to have that same feeling you felt going across the country or whatever, that same feeling you have taking her across. Like all these things.
But he might have.
Yeah.
Even with the new bike.
We don't
know that. We're thinking too far ahead on that. You know, seriously. Because when he gets to be, see, right now, and I'm not like being argumentative.
No, I agree.
But that's almost like being controlling.
Yeah.
Because how me and you feel. We feel equally about this, you know. Like if I judge for the 8-year-old or the 10-year-old what he should have when he's 21 years old or whatever age, it's a double-edged sword, you know. I can be like trying to control what he likes, or I can use and a lot of guys might say some guy might say it's controlling. Another guy might say his passion
or inspiring,
like what your brother was saying or your friend was talking about. His passion is so, you know, heavy, and he just wants, you know, he thinks they deserve, you know, what everybody's done, the hard work in front to carry this message, you know what I mean, and to bring it. I don't think that I don't think I can think that far ahead yet.
True, and that's fair. Yeah.
You know,
and like I said, the new bikes are they're a topic of conversation, is what they are for a lot of people. But like I was saying earlier about, you know, this podcast and how, like, you know, there's really not a whole lot of different conversations, you know, and if you look at the motorcycle world, our industry, it's not that fucking big in comparison to, you know, the hair culture of people that do hairdressing and shit. So our conversations or our memes that are on Instagram or the passing things, they're all they get old real quick because there's not a whole lot of other shit going on.
Exactly. Listen to this, okay? So you just said our conversations are basically, in these podcasts, are basically, you know, they're based off the same thing, and a lot of us have the same opinion. Yeah. Now check this out. Me, Joe Kidd, you know, FXR Mike, John, Evil, Dreams Ride John, and you're going to hear like almost the same thing, but different in a different language. Like everybody speaks their own way of it, but it has the same roots. Okay. Now somebody said, hey, go do a podcast. You're in town, do one with Jack and his wife Lisa. They just did a ride across country on FXRs. Go interview Joe, go interview, you know, I'm just mentioning these people. Okay. Now the reason that is because it's the same people that feel and think the way me and you do. Yeah. Okay. Now go over in Indiana and just pull up at the dealership and say, let's do a podcast. You don't even know the guy. Nobody sent you there. Okay. And pick the guy out that has a bandana on and not the dicky shorts and the high socks and or not even all FXR guys dress like that. But I'm saying, you know, the vision that I'm trying to say, and pick the guy, and to guarantee you're gonna hear a different opinion.
True, and you know,
and that's what's happening here. You know, we hear the same opinion, okay? Because now I can say, hey, go interview my homeboy Jesse Bradley. And I send you to the next guy interview or podcast with him, and he's gonna have the same a taste that we do.
And so it may be in a way, like I know the guy you're talking about, just the guy that's into different bikes.
You know what I mean?
But you know, the Softail in general, like the previous Softail, that was a very small amount. I don't even know if I say that. It wasn't very popular after a point, you know, of a bike. That Softail, the last one,
the Dynas Softail, whatever it is.
Well, no, the older one, like the
older Softail,
the real one.
The real Softail. Yeah. So whether that guy that you're speaking of is the bagger guy or the Softail guy,
we'll call him the bagger guy.
Like I would assume he's a bagger guy, but his bikes didn't get pulled out from it. All the baggers just got turned over into something else. Like these dudes will be just like us.
Yeah.
Pissed.
You know, I didn't look at it that way because I don't look at baggers. I guess you might be right.
You know, so it's like you pull Sportsters, you stop making Sportsters, there's going to be a lot of fucking
But not every
kids.
one of them, huh?
They get mad enough when you tell them it's a girl's bike.
Go up and
Jesus.
go up and what I mean by that is and I'm not right about
I'm not right about anything. I'm just
about the whole situation.
Get another opinion from different
like I'm saying
population.
like if me and you went and we said we set up in the middle of Kentucky in front of Walmart, and we can see guys coming whether they ride a FXR or Softail or a BMW, and you know, but we're talking about Harley guys, so forget the BMW guy. All these bikers that ride every piece of Harley equipment there ever was, and I guarantee you, it's a different podcast.
It is.
It's a different one.
I want to start talking to some more people. It's just that my culture or my people in reach are all us. It's like you said. So, but yeah, that's you know, and that thought just came up when you were talking. It's like, man, like I don't like bringing it up so much that people think it really bothers me, because I really don't give a fuck. You know, and I really don't. Like I just said, I'm trying to do 2 FXRs. I don't give a fuck, but I care about people enjoying their experience on motorcycles. Right. And when you have a lot, like it's the same thing that happened with big wheel baggers. When people start spending $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on bike builds, and they're having problems after problems after problems, that's a bad experience with a bad taste in their mouth because of the money that they spent. Absolutely. You know? And so what happens is, what I'm concerned about more than anything is not so much the aesthetics of the bike, it's the price and the limited ability that people can do multiple different things. I don't think those words all went together.
Sounded good, huh?
It did sound right. Right. But the ability to do more than one thing on your bike, like you buy a fucking, you know, a new that new FXDR or whatever it's called. A lot of us are like, man, like, do you have what's the travel package? What's the sissy bar look like? How are we gonna put our shit on this bike and go somewhere other than across town? That's
a one-person bike, anyways, right? So you can't even take your wife with you.
It has like a little seat cowl, like a sport bike. Yeah. It's much like a V-Rod, is what it is.
Yeah, and I can't stand that bike.
Yeah, so it's like the question is, you sell a $22,000 motorcycle to somebody that realistically is limited on what you can do on this bike. I mean, you can ride any bike cross country, but you're not going to enjoy it. Like, if you have to ride a V-Rod across country, and I know there's people that done it. I want to say somebody listening to this podcast did it. Yeah, that's cool. That's actually, I want to high five you, but the majority of people are not going to enjoy it. So you got a $22,000 payment, or you bought this bike, and now, you know, you start riding it and you meet people. You meet her, me, somebody else. Like, fuck, man, I want to do this now. I'm like, you know, all I had to do is get this $7,000 bike. You know what I mean? Or this, you know, there's a lot of different ways to look at it, which is stupid in a sense that, like, it doesn't really help the argument on either way. But, you know, you're right 100%. They do need change. I think that the argument is that the change was so drastic.
It was.
That it was like, it's hard for people to accept it.
It is.
You know, and it's like, it's not a subtle. You didn't ease it in. You just fucking, you know, smashed it in on us, and it's just hard.
They did. It is hard. I agree with that. You know, like, am I like proud of them? No. Yeah. Am I gonna lose sleep over it? No. No. And does people like think that's crazy because I don't want to be one of those? Maybe. But it's like, I'm not buying it, you know. So do I didn't like it. Okay, for an example, when they brung the V-Rod out, you just brung it up, okay? This same conversation was like, what happened? It was one bike. It was one bike. Okay, so it was easier to take to the you know, motorcycle industry. It was easier for people to swallow. There was one bike that they
nobody lost a bike.
No, they didn't. You're right. They brung it out, and that was it. They didn't like say, okay, this is the new.
Imagine if, like, which at the time when the V-Rod came out, the Dyna culture wasn't what it is now.
And that was.
But imagine if they took the Dyna away now and replaced it with the V-Rod and be like, hey, here's your new performance bike. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? This, you know. So
and speaking on the Dyna, okay, and people might think I'm a dick. Half of these Dynas, okay, you know, not everybody what's a good way to say this without pissing some people off? I think so here's your new Dyna, the V-Rod. Okay, so a lot of people only, half of these people, not half of them, but a portion of people that are on these Dynas that are like,
a lot of them are doing
upset
it for the gram.
about it, huh?
A lot of them are doing
a lot
it
of
for the
dudes
gram.
bought into Dynas or ride these bikes
For Instagram.
the Instagram.
Okay, that's where I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
That's
and I
exactly
kinda
what I'm
felt
trying
it.
to say. A lot of these people that, not a lot of them, a portion of people that are buying these bikes, such as the Dyna, are buying them because
It's popular.
you have one. Okay, like we just sat here and said, he don't even know you. We're not talking about your 8-year-old son right now.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy that bought it that didn't even ever own a motorcycle. Okay, so if he would have seen the other stuff, he probably would have been okay with it anyways.
So the biggest question about that, because I agree with this or that, it is kind of like on the surface, you're like, oh, this fucking, wannabe guy. But he got inspired by somebody that's
Somebody
doing
inspired
some
him.
Dyna
There's always a way to.
and then so he bought into the culture of what the Dyna is, and I guess the hope is, if we're going to be hopeful, wishful thinking, is that he might have got honey dicked in it by just seeing some cool shit that he wanted to be a part of. But maybe once he gets into it, he did it for the gram, but maybe he does. Maybe one day one of his dudes gets in your circle, and then you start pushing these dudes to go do some real shit on bikes. And then some real shit happens to where he's like, fuck, that was an amazing ride through these canyons or up to NorCal or even to fucking across the country. And now he's like, fuck, man, like I got in it for some gay shit. But man, like I feel like this is my life now, like for real, like.
And that's very much true, because people come here and can be on a different bike and
they get inspired.
And
like
they get
he plants a
inspired,
seed just
and
by
I plant the
them
seed.
literally seeing a bike, and they're like, okay, I want to ride that.
Mike is the one that got me in it.
And I said, and
Everyone
I plant
needs
the
someone,
seed. I carry the
to inspire
message.
them.
You're carrying the message. You can only do what you're capable of doing.
Even the new Softail, when they came out, the new Softail was kind of hard to swallow, but the bikes do handle and perform well. So even though aesthetically the way they look, it was not as like what people wanted.
That new Speed Merchant swing arm looks sick.
I think that and I've told every dealership that I've talked to, I was like, give it a year, let the aftermarket handle your shit, and you'll be fine. Now, there are things about the bike that are great. It is a great riding bike. You still have everything that I talked about. You can buy any of those Softail models and travel or wheelie or hit corners or whatever you want to do. Those bikes are still multi-purpose bikes. Every one of the models are, and so yes, I feel like more people were just loving making memes because they were funny as fuck. That Hitler meme where he was talking about, that shit was good. But these new models,
that was hilarious. You're talking about the video?
Yeah, the video, the long one where they put he was speaking
My
German.
Instagram is that was the best.
That shit was so good. But like I said, the thing is that those bikes you still have a Dyna there, in a sense. It's not called a Dyna, but it still technically is doing what a Dyna was doing, and it can cross over a little bit. Not the way we wanted it to, but it can. But these new ones, the Street Fighter, these bikes that they're planning on releasing these next couple of years, this one they just released, these bikes are like 10 more steps in another direction.
They hit us hard with about 4 crazy looking bikes that we're not used to in the Harley
essentially
industry.
Split like a multi-purpose bike, and they split it into a bunch of different bikes for one purpose.
What the problem is with this is them bikes that we're talking about, them bikes that they just are releasing are what the hard part about it is it's not the capability of it. I don't think we haven't even got as far as the bags on it, this and that. It's the appearance that we first see. It's not what we're used to. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Even the new Dyna, like you said, it's okay. I don't even know what it's called. So that bike, Softail Dyna, we'll say, it was acceptable. After everybody done their little
it wasn't
memes.
over stylized to where it couldn't be personalized.
I get it, and all this other stuff. It and I agree with anybody on that. It was so dramatic. the change and the look of it, we wasn't used to it. Even, I mean, you know, she's been in the motorcycle industry for 5 years. She was like, this is very much different, you know, whether she liked it or not, you know, it's still very much different, you know. We're not good with change, you know. We're not, you know, and we're not, you know, and that goes even outside of motorcycles, you know. We got a job, we're staying there, we really don't like it, but we don't like change, and we really don't want to go over here, you know, unless it's like a big paycheck and we know it and we're only going for that. We're comfortable with what we're doing, you know. It's and it's like that in a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of people's
change.
lives,
That the change on that was like pow, you know. It was so dramatic.
It was like pow, and then a little while after it was like pow, 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 pow.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
It was just like a lot of hits.
Do I like them? No, man. You know, I don't like them. I said it a minute ago. Am I going to go crazy about it? Absolutely not. All they got to do is go on my Instagram at Team Dyna 123. If they want a Dyna or an FXR,
you got them.
I got them covered. You know.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
I got them covered. You know what? A lot of this is gonna. You know, I see. You know what I see? A lot of the younger kids riding that we're talking about. They're going to these. What are they called? Road Kings. You're going to start seeing a lot more clubbed out Road Kings, I think.
Yeah, for sure, because those bikes handle very well.
They handle good. The frame is real close. It's got bags. And they actually look bitching, like 2 over front ends. Dude, and you can 14-inch shocks. I mean,
I know the most ideal one is going to be like the 09 and up frames, you know, which you can still get pretty cheap. But, dude, those older ones, like the, you know, 99 to 08 ones, those bikes are a little bit more lighter, narrower, just like the Dynas are. And you can get those fuckers cheap. I'm talking like $6-7 grand. Even street glides.
I think that's what we're going to start seeing a lot of, you know, because sometimes, you know, like the guy that does ride a Dyna, and we can't go as far as the FXR. The guys that ride, he wants a different bike, and they're looking for a new Dyna or whatever, you know. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of the Road Kings, you know, because they're bitching looking setup.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
are. And I guess Scotty's making those covers that you can put on the top to run the T-bars right through.
T-bars, and yeah, I mean he has those bars.
I ran his bars on my new Road Glide. I bought the 17 and built it. I sold it to a kid in Riverside. You know,
Did you run the MX bars?
Yeah, the ones that just had the bins on it.
Yeah,
that cleared the gauges.
I had on the Team Dyna 123 bike. I had the West Coast T-bars, the MX, and I have to say that's, you know, I have risers and Sportster bars on most of my bikes now, but as far as like comfortability, I mean that bike was so comfortable with those bars before a lot of other people started making those bars. Scotty hit, you know, he had it down. He still has it down, but those bars are the idea. If I own a Road King or a Road Glide, I would run the West Coast T-bars.
Yeah,
you know?
So, you know, there's lots of bike markets, and I think that with Harley being something that everybody wants to customize and make personalized, you know, I think their goal with these new bikes, the ones that haven't been released yet, is really to make a bike that you don't have to touch. Kind of like what Indian has, even though I think Indian wants an aftermarket. You know, I've seen them reach out to aftermarket companies. Hey, man, can we pay you to make parts for us that you design them? You know, because they want to build that community that Harley has.
So more people want to buy them because there's more options.
But see, and, you know, once again, John Evil said Indians are great bikes, but they're over stylized to where you can't personalize.
He's right about that.
And the problem, and that's one thing I'm probably going to reference him for a couple months now, but I think that's a big thing, and I think that you have to be able to make a bike that has room for interpretation. You know, has room for you to make it truly yours, or like saying it, just, you know, once again referencing FXRs. I'm looking at a lot of like cherry ass OG looking FXRs in here. that I'm equally as wild as if I was at Big Al's or some shit looking at all these customed out, Schultz painted FXRs.
Yeah.
So there's a subculture of your style of FXR in this other conglomerate of whatever. And there's those hamsters.
And you're a painter, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, if you look around, there's outside of that shovelhead over there, there's not a bike in this shop that doesn't have factory paint. You know?
And all the shit's fucking clean.
And being 20 years from now, do I want them bikes with factory paint? Fuck no. That part, but even before them bikes came out, before they hit us with this, we speaking for a lot of people, we always said in the 90s and Harley did it best with the paint,
the newer bikes they do these subtle graphics, but these colors that came on these bikes and I don't know, man, like it's just, maybe it's our like culture now that we're interested in the vintage and in the antiques and the time before, but man, I don't know, man, like honestly, when I first got in FXRs, I could have gave a shit what color it was because I was going to paint it. That's my job.
Right.
I also, my hobby and my passion in life is motorcycles. My job is painting them.
Right.
So I appreciate these and I kind of like want something like that for myself, but of course, it's kind of like shooting myself in the foot if I don't paint my own shit up,
Yeah,
but,
you have to have a...
But no, it's Harley's going to do what they're going to do, and we're just going to be over here spectating for a while. And, maybe they build a bike that, I just hope that they do build a bike at one point in time where you're like, fuck, I want that.
You seen the me that everybody's making of the FXR?
The new one, yeah.
The one guy that originally made it, seen it when he first done it on his Instagram. I can't even remember what his name was. The guy that designed that FXR. It's a pretty good looking bike, truthfully.
Yeah.
Okay? But I don't think that serious FXR guys would even buy that bike.
I don't think they would either.
No, because they would go and buy the FXR. If that bike's $20,000, they go buy a bike for $6,000, $7,000, $10,000. Who gives a fuck? And spend the other $10,000 doing what they do to all their bikes.
Well, it becomes this argument here. Like I go back to the reference. We all know that a 70 or whatever year Charger ain't nothing like the new Charger.
Right.
But vice versa. Like, if you're going to spend $20,000 on a bike or on something and you're going to make payments on it, would you rather spend $20,000 on the Charger from 69 that has a carburetor that you have to jiggle the keys on? Or would you rather buy it on that new Hellcat fucking, new car that's got all the new technology? It's not the same Charger.
It's the way we're programmed. We're okay with paying $20,000 for that old car if we have cash to jiggly. But that one, we're going to finance and pay a payment on.
Exactly. So
and that's
I think
the way
that,
it is.
And if it is true to what an FXR was, if it did have, even if they just kept the same frame and they just made an M8 fit on it, they brung out. They tried to sell some FX, which they put them stupid paint jobs on them, the yellow and the orange, the 3s and the 4s.
And the thing was, people wasn't excited about them.
Well, I thought that's because the culture that they don't have what they have now. You know what I mean? You're talking about 3 years after a bike left, without social media, without this culture of what we have now. In this.
Social media would have helped back then, as if it was what it is today. I agree with that.
And then they didn't make a new bike. They put new brakes on it. They put a new.
But okay, that's what I'm saying then. So what was the problem then? Why didn't nobody really want it? Basically, what they put was new brakes on it, and new switches, control, and
so there were subtle upgrades.
Pretty much it. But one of those bikes is an amazing platform if you want to build an FXR.
True. Yeah.
But check this out: build that 2000 FXR, and go to a show with it, and let me build a 94 FXR and watch and see which one gets more respect.
True. And that's the argument of like the what if, right? When we're talking about if they came out with a new one, it's a very I mean, we're talking in alternate universes and shit. We're getting deep into some other shit, but it's a strange concept, but you really can only reference it to the car culture. You just got to think, like, if you want some Joe Blow kid to go finance a bike, would you rather it be this new Softail, or would you rather it been the evolution of what an FXR was? So now, there's always going to be those years like, fuck, who wants a fucking IROC Z Camaro? I love a 69.
Yeah, but who wants a 86? So maybe that's what we're going through. Who wants just like Harley? A lot of people didn't want a 06 Dyna.
Yeah.
Okay.
And rightfully so. You kind of fuck yourself if you buy one.
Right. So maybe everybody like 10. Hopefully, if we're lucky enough, 10 years from now, everybody will be like, you don't want an 18 or 19. Them bikes was fucked.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's what happens, and they pull back into where everybody's happy again. I don't think they. I mean, I think they know, but I don't think they really know like how the circle of all of us
I think
feel.
I think that a lot. I realized this when I was looking at expanding my business. I was thinking about doing investors and shit. When I started thinking about writing up a business plan, I started having everything about what I felt makes my company amazing. How do I put that in numbers? And I think that that's what happens with Harley with these bikes, is that you're putting in numbers. What's the value of this? What's the number of people buying this bike? What's this? What's that? They're not looking at the buzz or the feel or the vibe or the culture or all these other things that may make me sound like a fucking hippie right now. But when you have like a cult following for something, it's probably a bad example, but no one's ever capitalized off a cult following and made something that people loved again. It's just hated, which is probably what would happen with FXRs. But I guess my point is that sometimes you're selling a passion product, and this is referencing someone else's info for me. You're selling a passion product, or it's a passion purchase. Then maybe you should accept a little passion in your design or in your marketing or in your thought process of how you're going to like reach the people, because it feels like they're just making bikes that are more profitable from a lot of standpoints. They're making bikes that now you really, those new ones they haven't released, they all look like bikes that the only options of customization are going to be very few and limited. That's
and we're speaking about that, about them 4 or 5 bikes. My opinion is Harley,
you can buy the $30,000.
Harley. I mean, we're talking a long time ago. Okay, Harley lost their roots of their true lines a while back, and as far as like where their parts are made, and they lost that a long time ago, like how it used to be in 1930 or something. There was passion then. Okay, there was passion that went into log cabins back then.
Yeah.
Versus today's house. Okay, the passion that went into the bikes all the way up. Even the passion that went when they started, the passion was lost years ago as far as like American made almost, because I mean these parts are being made anywhere. The bike's being assembled here, so the they used to be made and assembled. They lost. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get
they
it.
lost track way back when the main guys, kids started fading out, and it became a profitable.
Well, a lot of that is kind of out of their hands, when you start talking about manufacturing, because I mean, we with unions here, which I'm not qualified to talk about it, but it gets to a point where it costs so much money to make a mass-produced product in America, and so the only way you can make a mass-produced product in America and sustain a business, you almost have to outsource certain things, or at least just buy components that were manufactured from somebody that specializes in that.
Right.
So it gets hard, man. I don't have a problem with them outsourcing, and I think FXR Mike said it best on a podcast we did. He goes, I've worked in plants, and some of these dudes don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So it's like American made products is kind of lost its
It's lost its
thing a long time ago.
Yeah. And it goes, it comes right down the
I think now the argument is buy local and stop buying your shit on Amazon.
Okay.
That's the new thing.
So, yeah, we can make a me for it and post it and maybe get 3 or 4 reposts tomorrow, and everybody can argue about that for the next however long, But that's the thing.
We also got to think, this is another aspect, is that, most of us have, like, I got a million other things we could talk about, but these are hot topics for people that don't dabble in bikes as deep as we do, right? Okay. So for them, this is like this. Oh man, something happened in the Harley world. This is interesting. I want to know about it. This is relative to me now. And there's a lot of people that ride bikes that they're not as deeply passionate about motorcycles as we are, and so there's those trigger things, like what's going on now, like that Bloomberg article. That's all trigger word shit in that fucking thing. It's just.
Did you read it, babe?
No.
This is important to people that are taking a shit at work and they just want to see what's going on Instagram. But realistically, I don't think me and you might have this conversation here. But if I was sitting here, we didn't do a podcast, we would have been talking about FXRs all fucking night,
all night long.
Yeah. But
I'll probably talk about some Dynas too. I've had some.
Yeah, exactly. Dynas.
I've had. I'm not the guy that.
Yeah, FXR only.
Just I got a lot of FXRs, but I like the culture of the Dyna FXRs.
It's all lumped in.
I care about where the Dynas are going. Okay, because that was like Jesse, he has like a, what is it, 2015
yeah.
He went and bought one. It was appealing to him. He went and bought it because the way it looked, he liked it. It was cool, and he done his thing to it because he still could. I liked the when the new bike came out, the feeling when I did like it. I enjoyed that feeling, even though I wasn't going to buy one. When the new Lowrider S came out, I was like, that's fucking pretty good looking bike.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on buying one then, but
those are worth money now.
It felt good to see the nice bike that I do like.
It felt nice to see Harley see the culture that Dynas became, because and put a bike together that
but what
gave
happened
you more.
is, and I know they sold them all, but when you get to wherever they do the books at, they didn't sell enough. Something happened. Something happened to change. They didn't change
you
because
think like this.
Because
so, how many years was the Lowrider S? 2 years.
2, I think. Maybe.
All right, so that was like that's a decision they can make quickly and throw those parts on that bike already. Because other than the motor, which they already made a 110, it was in Screaming Eagles or CVOs.
Right.
So they had the motor laying around. The shocks, those look a lot like the shocks that were on some of the Sportsters as well. So put it like this: those Lowrider S's were something they were able to slap together quick on demand. Like, hey, let's just make a model. We'll put this motor in it, add a few little touches. It's not going to be like we're revamping anything. So in my opinion, those Softails that they recently came out with, those were in the works well before they put
long time ago.
Well before they put that Lowrider S out there.
They was trying to get rid of, like you said,
probably had some 110 motors laying around.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Remember the socks we was talking about in Venice? If you're selling socks and you're doing good on it, you don't just say, hey, and you're becoming a billionaire from selling socks. You don't go, you know what? I don't want to sell no more socks. I'm going to start selling lighters, big lighters. Something changed that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Okay. It had to. It changed. The numbers changed somewhere that we don't know about, but we get to talk about it. You see what I mean?
Exactly.
Because something changed. You don't change from selling socks to selling lighters because you became a billionaire from it. Something changed. There's some numbers. Something fell that wasn't like great enough to keep it going. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to stress that because
exactly. That's what happened.
Because something happened that we're not aware of. Okay, the numbers wasn't great enough, and the reason the numbers wasn't great enough because because the culture that we know, it was the people buying these. There's a culture outside of us that we don't associate with, that wasn't buying them, evidently.
And we were buying used bikes too.
And we're buying used bikes, man, you know, and that's the thing. And now our conversation, even not with you, with the other guy that comes in here, what do you fucking think about this? I don't fucking know, because I know it changed for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't change for a reason. I mean, you know, there's a reason behind why it done it, and it goes back probably 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, them bikes was probably been in the mix for this. What it is it is about money with them now. It ain't about how you feel or I feel with them anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
And what it is that fucking numbers changed, and the money wasn't great enough to keep doing it. That's why. Because all of us that are feeling the change wasn't buying the new lowrider S anyways.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't buy it. Did you buy one?
No, fuck
I didn't
no.
buy one. Did Joe buy one? Did FXO? Did you know what I mean? No. But the guys that are buying, even if they don't want this fucking new bike, they done something for something that we're not aware of.
Yeah.
That started a long time ago, you know, in order to do this.
Yeah,
you know?
so there's lots of underlying things that made it do it. Like I said, I'm okay with it. I'm you know, it's just, it is what it is. You know, I'm looking for FXRs right now. So if you know any out there, but yeah, dude. Anything else? Like what's any new ideas? What's going on after this? Y'all got any other plans for?
Yeah. The plan is to the plan is we're going to make over her bike, the leather pros, all that's coming off.
All new suspension.
It's going to get all new suspension. Already ordered the Olins for the rear. We're going to go with some RP or maybe FXR division bags. That bike is going to get like a total makeover. It doesn't need it, but we want it. We want it when she goes into shows. We want it to be recognized as that, you know, this bike is a girl's bike, is badass, you know. I guess other than that one, you know, we're gonna this year, hopefully, I'm gonna build this very rare 93 FXRS convertible. It's the blue and white one. I'm gonna do a lot of modifications to that, and I'm normally not the guy to change that, but for some reason I'm going to change. I'm going to do something.
Yeah,
you know
try something new.
Because you see, all these bikes that I have are still to their roots. You know, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to change that bike and to what we already know, basically.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna give it.
Well, you're making them better, but you're not taking away anything that made them what they are.
Well, that's another argument somewhere else. You know, we're making it better, but there's a guy out there that goes, "Don't fuck that up."
Yeah, but
you know
that's a small.
Yeah, that's a small group, but yeah, it is. And
you happy about these things, or is he controlling you again?
Oh no, definitely not. I mean, I'm happy about the suspension first and foremost. I want my bike to ride right. You know, everything after that is just, you know,
cosmetic
extra. You know, but the suspension is number one for me. That's what I want the most. That's what I press the most for.
So after this trip, are you like amped up to do another one, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I wish we could leave tomorrow if our bikes were right and go again. You know, like
she's ready to
any
ride.
other like new places you want to try to ride to that you didn't get to check off the list this time, or what?
Well, I wanted to go to Yellowstone, so maybe we'll go there.
Yeah, maybe the next next
smaller
adventure
ride,
we'll
not
do
such a large ride, but we'll go to Yellowstone because I really want to go there. And,
like go through Northern California, like up the 101.
We can
into
go to
Oregon.
Yosemite and maybe go to Yellowstone or something like that.
Well, we'd probably catch Yosemite on the way back.
Yeah.
We go up around, like I was saying.
Yeah, but that's probably our next.
She wants to do Yellowstone and Yosemite.
Yeah.
You know, so
That'd be cool.
We already started talking about it, you know.
We're already trying to leave on Friday. I wanted to go on the road with him again because it's Labor Day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it. We could take the truck because, you know, it has a fucking full-size bed in the back, and was like, fuck, we can just go somewhere, maybe buy a bike or two and bring it home. The plan is to fucking keep buying bikes, keep selling bikes that people want, and keep doing what we love, you know.
The long-term plan is to shop, though.
Yeah, that subject we was on earlier.
That's the long-term goal, is to shop, and then
that's cool.
Online sales, if we can do that.
Yeah, we want
to expand. He's like outgrown the shop. He keeps outgrowing things.
You know, I want a storefront with fucking 30 bikes of what everybody wants. Yeah, you know, then come buy them. You know, I'm gonna have them right there,
and then come and hang out too if they want to.
And hang out.
It's not just about
that's
buying
what we want.
Too,
a coffee shop inside of a motorcycle shop, to where you don't have to buy a fucking bike. You could come and look at the bikes. You know, you don't have to. You know, that's what I want. You know, I want us to have that. You know, to where people don't have to worry about them bikes, and if they want to buy a bike and they really truly want an FXR and they really truly want a Dyna, and I'm not the only guy that does this, but there is places, that I want them to be ready, maybe don't have to be like overdone, too personalized. Okay, don't want to personalize it, but maybe just have, a nice clean bike. Some of them setting just like that, all stock.
Just well maintained, like gone through. Right. It's a certified used FXR is a good way to do it. Yeah. Just something that's kind of gone through.
That's a perfect idea.
Yeah, that where people were like buying a bike, knowing that the charging system's legit, knowing that everything is like legit. Like, I think the scariest thing about buying anything old is like, how long? Like, is this a time bomb, or can I get some miles out of this? So if you go through these bikes and you charge for it, and you have financing options for whatever, for the more expensive ones, or it makes it more appealing for someone to be able to come in and get into this old stuff that don't know shit about it and don't have 100 resourceful friends to help them solve
things. That's the plan, See, I have a different style, like I don't like go and buy the bikes and bring them back and like just put fucking bunch of cool shit on there because it is. I rather sell the bike. My style is I rather buy the bike, bring the bike back, buy a bike like this. And speaking of personalized, because here's the thing with personalized, and let's talk about personalized old bikes versus these new ones for a minute. We can say, okay, if I have that bike sitting there like that, you come and buy that bike at a reasonable price. I sell bikes at great prices. So you could make that bike your own, Yeah. But when it leaves, it's gonna be running rideable. You can keep it just like that. But then I'll have a couple with little EV27 ignition, Mikuni, within reason, maybe a couple with bars and risers, thunderheader, whatever, for the guy that just wants to buy it and ride it. But I like to leave some room for you to make it your bike, Yeah. If I brung every bike in here and I made the bike, exactly the way I want to make the bike, it's not as fun to the person after they get home with it.
Well, things like seats and bars, and even you could argue exhaust systems and air cleaners. Those are kind of like things that are going to be personalized to like your comfort of riding the bike. Mm-hmm. And so some people don't like super loud exhaust. Some people want that fucking California look with a thunderheader and shit on it. And bar position, man. Like we were talking about, you like bars and risers. I don't know why, but I just am a fan of solid T-bars. Yeah. I didn't realize it, until I was like, man, like my first Dyna had bars and risers. And I felt like I had flex a lot, man. I really did. And it was like some FM risers, or bars and FM stuff. And I'm not saying anything bad about them, but it just felt different.
Yeah, I agree. The T-bar is more solid. I was a T-bar guy for a long time, and I
do enjoy the look of how they look, especially on the FXRs with the gauges.
I really got into the more in the beginning. I was strictly, more or less T-bars, and then I got into the bars and risers. But that's what I want to do. I want to grow. I've pretty much, I think I've outgrown this place. We want a storefront. We want to take it to the next level. I want to have, you know, a very big selection of bikes for people to buy. Not too personalized, because that's the thing with the new bikes. Like we was saying a little while ago, they're too personalized. I'm the guy that rather buy that all original bike right there is to buy, you know, already, you know, done up, you know, because I like to do it myself and make it my own, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at, you know. I don't want to buy your old bike. I want my new bike, you know.
Yeah.
And that's just the way I am, you know, to be honest about it, you know.
Yeah. So what's the? I mean, we'll probably wrap this up. It's getting late, but what's your Instagram again? The Team Dyna.
It's Team Dyna 123.
And then yours is Life
of Lisa 80.
And there's any spaces in any of that shit, or is it all just one?
Just
no,
one.
mine's at Team Dyna.
You got a website or anything for like your bike sales and all that shit, or is it just gone through?
Just it's all off of Instagram
that's
and
what I'm doing, man. It's more
and
it's
Facebook.
easier.
You
It's
know,
instant.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's real simple. Team Dyna, TEAMDYNA 123, and then my wife's is at Life of Lisa 80.
80. Is that your birth year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that wrong for me to ask?
No, that is. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it, man. I gotta drive back to
much.
Venice tonight.
Yeah, we're getting tired too. So I appreciate you coming
Thank you,
down to
guys.
the shop, man. It was
Appreciate
great,
it.
man. Thank you.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. I want to thank Jack and Lisa again. It was awesome to get to meet them. Awesome hanging out there. Another good time in LA. Want to thank our sponsors, Texas Performance MC, TexasPerformanceMC.com, as well as on Instagram. Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and PaintHuffer.com. HorsepowerInc.net, Horsepower Inc. Indy on Facebook, and Horsepower Inc. on Instagram. Also want to thank Hard Drive Parts on Instagram and HDTwin.com if you want to get set up as a dealer. Thank you guys for the support. Don't forget about us, just FastLifeGarage.com. You can see our Patreon. You can see links to YouTube and all those type of things. Just all kinds of different shit. I want to thank you guys for supporting us and helping us grow this podcast. We are on our 9th month. It's awesome, man. It's fun. It's great, and it's awesome hearing your feedback. So thanks for everything. Hope to see a lot of you guys at the campout this weekend, rain or shine. The beer's gonna be flowing and the fun's gonna be happening. So come out, Moyers, Oklahoma. There's really nothing else there but this campground and a gas station that sells beer. So come out, have a good time. Also tonight is our bike night with the North Texas T-Bar dudes, or Anvil 8, whatever. We're all kinds of different things, right? But I want to thank those guys too, man. Matt, James, Mathis, Matthias. I just call him Chief. Stu, Jesse, all the homies. Thank you, man. Thank you guys for being awesome dudes. Daniel, can't forget about fucking Daniel. All you guys, man. If I'm missing one of you, I know I am. Sorry. It's early. I need to get to work. I got a lot of shit to do. But anyway, thank you guys that listen to this podcast. Thank you for all my friends that have been helping me do all this cool shit for so long. Thanks. Appreciate it. Have a good fucking Tuesday. Have a good week. Hope to see you this weekend. And if you don't come, have a good weekend anyway. We'll see you guys later.